What's going on? Welcome. We are Grown A Geeks. This is Weigh In Wednesday. Haven't had a Weigh In Wednesday in a while, so happy to be back doing another live show. We will put the group information in the comments, so people are welcome to jump in and say hello. Hello, Andrew. What's going on, man? I want to say thank you for joining us. We are here to just talk about some things. Don't have anything. Don't have a major agenda. A couple things I wanted to discuss. It's just some stuff's been going on in my head. And joining me tonight, I have from our weekly watch group, I have Miss Brandy. Insert cool nickname. Brandy, how you doing this evening?
Hello.
So good to have you all back on. I haven't talked to anybody in a while, so it's good. Yeah, we get to talk. Also joining me, the oldling. What? We got Miss Teresa here with me as well, and we are going to do some chit-chatting about some things. I'm going to put the link if you decide you want to join us, if you want to hop in the live. The link will be in the comments. Feel free to click the link. We are live, so please be appropriate. That is all I ask, and you are welcome to be a part of this show. So, before we got on, there was a couple things that I was kind of talking about in our little group chat and whatnot. And I was looking at, I just recently watched Axel F, the new Beverly Hills Cop movie. And it took me 2 times watching it to actually watch it. We first attempted to watch it on Father's Day. And it was a lot happening that day. And so, I was like, I didn't give it a fair shot. I'm not going to count that viewing. But it didn't catch anyone's attention. No one watched it. It was just on. We had background music or background noise. And then later on, I was like, okay, you know what? Let me give it another shot. I saw a few scenes, saw a few faces. I want to see what this is about. Went back, rewatched it. Not bad. It wasn't fantastic. It wasn't like the best movie ever. It's part 4 in a series, and there was a big gap between. It's like 30 years since the last movie or something. So
at least, yeah.
Has it been? Geez.
Yeah. And so it was like, it didn't have the same 30-year catch-up feeling that I got from like episode 1 or anything like that. The anticipation of something new from that world. It was Beverly Hills Cop. You know what I'm saying? If I did not ever get another Beverly Hills Cop movie, I don't think it would have changed anything. But a return to the character for, Eddie Murphy was not bad. I think it was definitely a better return to character than him coming back as Prince or King Akeem in Coming to America. I think the jokes landed a little bit better. I think the premise made a little bit more sense, and it did not feel like they were trying to rewrite the movie. They were just picking up and carrying on with the characters that we have. And I think sometimes when you have all of these remakes and sequels and 4, 5, 6 in a series, it's okay if you just continue where you left off. And somehow I don't feel like the Coming to America movie did that. I felt like they were trying to insert a new premise into an old story. Whereas this was the exact same Detroit road cop who has to go out to Beverly Hills and be a wild man and do things. It worked. I thought it worked. I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was pretty good. Coming to America, I loved Leslie Jones. I thought she was fantastic. She was very, very funny. The young guy who played the son, I thought he had a few moments. All the stuff with the daughter was like, what? breaking tradition and trying to do new things. That was what the original king, James Earl Jones, that's what he did, and allowed a king to marry, uh, what was her name? Sherry?
Lisa.
Lisa. And I'm thinking the actress name, but he was allowed to marry Lisa. And as a result of him being able to marry Lisa, now they have a different life. So now that he's king, he has the option to change things up and he can do what he wants. Try to keep it spoiler free for anybody who decides they want to watch that. Um, and I'm not saying not to watch it. It didn't hit for me.
Oh yeah, no,
Um,
you gotta watch the Beverly Hills Cops, but skip 3. Just don't do that.
yeah, and
Don't.
they even kind of took a shot at that in the movie.
Just go to
Joseph
4.
Gordon-Levitt
Just go
has a
right to 4.
yeah, he
1,
had some
2, and
funny.
then
He has a
4.
funny line where he talks about it, and and I think just acknowledging that,
You
um,
should though, because it's classics. They are classics.
yeah.
They're like
Definitely
Lethal Weapon,
classic.
Die Hard.
See, and the fact that I could get a 3 movie collection on Blu-ray, I would do it for that reason, just to like have a nice solid film in the collection. That would
Yeah.
be reason enough. Um, but it got me to thinking. I was sitting there watching that, and have you ladies watched it? You watched
Yes.
Beverly Hills?
Yes.
So am I?
I didn't say anything about it. I don't know what that says.
I mean, that could speak volumes right there. Like I said, it wasn't bad. I didn't feel the need to rush out and tell everybody, like, hey, you got to go see the new Beverly Hills Cop. It's on
Right.
Netflix. I figure if you have Netflix, it's going to get watched. And that's kind of how I look at it. I don't feel like I wasn't chomping at the bit waiting for it to come out. Like, there are movies that get released in the theater, and I am like absolutely waiting for that movie to become available so I can
Absolutely.
see it. I don't care if it's like how quickly can I rent it from Amazon or how quickly can I get it to streaming so I can see it if I'm not able to make it to theaters to see it. Um, the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. I was very happy that came to streaming in a time frame where I was able to enjoy it. Um, and it's just gotten to the point where like I am not quite as motivated to go to the theater as I once was. Um, I got a really nice TV for Father's Day, and my kids they all went in, and my wife they all got together. So now my home theater is more than adequate. Like,
It's theatering.
right, it is worth my $20 to just stay at home and watch a film. And so many movies like Beekeeper. I just watched Beekeeper at home on my free trial of MGM Plus.
Yeah, that's
Like
good, actually. I haven't watched it, but I heard it was actually really good.
It was good.
the it's funny because the premise of the movie is exactly what you think it is,
Mhm.
but it goes somewhere you don't think it's going to go, and that makes for a surprisingly good movie
Okay.
because
He's not necessarily like, I don't dislike him, but I don't necessarily seek out his content. If
you
that
don't
makes
have to.
sense.
But you know what? It's one of those things like
So
he
like
has a couple of
he kind of makes the
characters.
same movie.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's what I was going to say. Like, it's kind of like with Jason Statham, he has a few characters that have been standout characters, but for the most part, it's always the same movie. And
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't even have to be Jason Statham. Like, that kind of movie is very much the same movie. Here we have a retired special forces military guy who just wants to be off the radar and lay low. Bad thing happens. He goes on a one-man army revenge quest to right the wrong.
Right.
Do you know how many movies that is?
Yes.
Mhm.
That's why I
It
haven't
is
seen it.
so
'Cause I was
hard
like,
to
well, I've seen it.
it's so hard to do that movie and do it well where it stands out.
Okay.
Somehow in Beekeeper they do that. And it is
Okay.
like you were like, "Huh. Okay. I didn't see that. That's a twist." And
Yeah.
then like somebody really was into bees to write this movie because of all of the like tie-ins to the beehive, bee puns, and this like.
Oh my gosh.
But you know what? They work. They land, and I was
You
I
know,
was not disappointed in it. But Jason Statham, like Lee Christmas from the Expendables, Frank from the Transporter, and one of his early movies, the Guy Ritchie film. Uh,
Lock was that Lock Stock? No. Which one was he in?
no, actually, it may not be Guy. Who did the Italian Job? He was
Oh,
Handsome
that's
Rob in the
not.
Italian Job, and he was like the driver there. So that's what stands out. I feel like that was Guy Ritchie though. The Italian, nonetheless, in the Italian Job.
Guy Ritchie. That's the one with Mark Wahlberg, right? The
Yeah,
Italian Job.
yeah.
I don't remember.
So, but in that one, it was. I thought that one was very good, and those are times where he's kind of stood out as a unique actor, unique individual. Most times, it's all kind of the same thing. Um, he was in Snatch. He was in Snatch,
Yeah.
and that's the
I
guy
was like,
Ritchie
I
film.
know he was in one, but I couldn't think of the name of it. So
And
yeah.
but Handsome Rob was from the Italian Job. I do know that. Um, so with those characters, Italian Job, Mark Wahlberg.
That's definitely a movie that nobody talks about anymore. And I loved that movie when it came
Yeah,
out.
I thought it
I
was really
wanted a
good.
Mini Cooper so bad.
It was okay. That was F. Gary Gray for the Italian Job. So we'll we'll give the right credit where it's due. F. Gary Gray on the Italian Job, but yes, he was in Lock,
Really?
Stock, Two. He was in Snatch as well.
That's Gary
So
Gray. I didn't know that. Well, good for him.
right, good.
Where'd
There
he
we go.
go?
Good movies. Good movies. Nobody talks about right there. The Italian
That
Job.
definitely.
That's a series Brandy's been. She's been running it low key on her page. I check it out and make sure. I try to make sure I've seen all of the movies that she's mentioned, and if I haven't,
Don't, because some of them are ridiculous.
I do a whole show called "Why Did I Watch That." I don't mind watching the ridiculous movies, and honestly, that could be part of the issue because whenever you look at all of these remakes that are being done and things like that, it kind of questions like one, why are there so many remakes? Everybody's like, oh, there's nothing else in Hollywood and nobody's original and da da. And it's like nobody ever like so rarely do people reward the originality. So rarely do people reward the individual content that gets put out. Every once in a while, something comes through and it just like collectively blows everybody's minds, and we love it. But other than that, it's better if you want to get a budget, if you want people to give you money to tie yourself into an established series, established franchise. I
I
read an
just
article recently. So
no, go ahead.
no, I read an article recently where Matt Damon, he just had a movie, um, Manchester Sea or something like that. And he was complaining about the fact that the movie had to be made on a $9 million budget. And when you compare that to the budget of, say, the average Marvel movie,
Right.
a $9 million budget is going to be that middle of the road. Like that's almost an indie production at $9 million. Um,
I mean, I guess it depends on the movie, right? Like if it's actiony, that's low, but if it's like just like a small drama,
right. And but see, I think that's kind of where the theater is right now. Now that
right?
$9 million Manchester by the Sea, that's it. That $9 million movie, that's going to be direct to video Amazon. That's going to be a Netflix movie or something like that.
True.
You don't really hear about $9 million films going to the theater. And because of that, I think what you end up having is a lot more content that gets skipped over in place of the big tentpole films, the Marvels, the DCs, some of the bigger Disney. Um,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of it's due to the way we consume content now. It has everything to do with COVID. It has everything to do with us being in a post-COVID society. People got very comfortable being at home watching movies, and everything came to streaming. And now we have every streaming service. And even if you don't have cable, your television budget might still be like $200 because if you have all the streaming services, you
Which
know,
is why I don't. But there, and what really, I'm like, what does it mean? Because they're starting to combine. Because I think they said something about Paramount now is coming to
Yeah, if
the
Paramount
Disney
and Max
Plus
join
or
together,
Max.
yeah, I think it was Paramount Plus is wanting to join with Max.
And
And
I'm like, hey, because I have Max.
and seeing when Max and Discovery Plus merged, that was a plus for me because my wife was already paying for Discovery Plus. And it's funny because she still chooses to keep Discovery Plus, even though all of the same stuff is on Max, because it'll have to like until she gets to the end of a season, she has to keep watching it on Discovery Plus because it knows like what episode she's on. And that's, I'm like, hey, it just takes 2 seconds to go and just switch from one to the, it's too much for her. Once the season is over, she'll switch over to Max. And I'm like, okay, I get it. Um, but since we consume so much media at home, like during the downtime of COVID, when everybody was at home, we were stuck at home, there was the podcast boom. It used to be when somebody became famous, the first thing they did was they tried to break into Hollywood. They tried to get an acting gig or they tried to, get on television or something like that. And now the moment you get famous, you have to hit the podcast circuit. You don't go on radio, you don't do talk shows, you go on people's podcasts. And I am like so behind, I guess, because even though like I have my own YouTube channel, obviously, and thank you all for being here on our YouTube channel. Um, I don't have like this list of podcasts that I listen to regularly. Most times if I'm listening to a podcast, it's an audiobook or some version of that. I enjoy listening to people have conversations, but I want to be a part of the conversation. If you're not telling me something I don't know, the talking points kind of get lost on me. There are a few YouTube channels that I watch. There's some of the larger ones. Um, everybody knows New Rock Stars and Screen Crush and Watch Mojo and Looper. I watch all of those, but I watch that to like get information I don't have. I need all the Easter egg videos, the behind the scenes, the 28 things you might have missed in this episode. I watch those. Um, I watch a lot of like Comic Historian. I loved his channel. I like Comics Explained because if I need to catch up on a series, I can just go flip that on and boom, there's 23 comics read to me or it's explained so I don't have to sit and read all 23. It's fantastic. But because of that boom and everybody getting into podcasting and social media and YouTube and TikTok and things like that, everybody's opinion started mattering. And I believe it's had an effect on the content we get now because somehow everything is trash. See how I brought it back? See, you were like, what do you mean somehow everything is trash. And it feels like more people take time to dislike something than to
Absolutely.
try to have any shred of enjoyment.
Um, I was looking at some the trailer for Agatha, and I just was in the comments because I make mistakes. We all do. Um, and I mean, like every other comment, wow, who wants that? That's terrible. This looks bad, and blah blah blah. And I'm just like, okay, so help me understand. People loved that character in WandaVision. Loved that character. Like
Exactly.
not like, oh, she was okay. They loved her. Everybody was singing the song. She was a breakout on that show, and they left the door open for something else to happen. Now, from what I understand, the Witches Road and all of this leads into, what was it, the Young Avengers? Somebody was saying it
Right.
can lead into other things. So let them cook. Like they scared to cook now because every time they release something, everybody's like, is this worse than Werewolf by Night? We don't even know. Let them cook. It's just a limited series. Like,
And even to that point, I think something like Werewolf by Night, you have to include something in that realm to justify why you have Blade. Like, how does Blade fit into the MCU? If it
I
ain't no
see what you're
werewolves
saying.
out here, if it ain't no vampires out here, why do we even have Blade?
Right.
And so having Werewolf by Night and making it a Marvel production and showing that this occult information is like part of this same universe, that's how you can tie all these loose threads together.
Right.
And it is just the fact that, I think back to um, when Titans first came out. Actually, before Titans came out, everybody was looking at Anna Diop in her behind the scenes photo that somebody was taking from
Yeah.
the roof of a building with a
Yeah.
super zoom lens and was like, oh, this costume looks like it looks horrible. It looks like crap. This is going to be the worst show ever. And it was such a fantastic series. Titans was so good. It was violent. It was adult. It was very grounded. It was great. And now here we have like the behind the scenes photos of David Cornsweet. And I have to say, like, I'm a little shocked. He looks a lot better as Superman I thought he was gonna look. And
Teresa.
that reaction. I
I'm
mean, granted,
sorry.
the
It was
man
a
is
muscle spasm.
and that it could be for the lack of muscles that David Cornsweet is sporting. You know what I'm saying? He's a very slim. But I also thought like Brandon Ruth was a great character for Superman. You know what I'm saying? And it's
He
like in
was.
all the different depictions. Now, granted, Alex Ross has probably done the best visual depiction of Superman in the comics, Kingdom Come, because y'all know that's all I'm gonna talk about. But then right after that, Jim Lee on the For Tomorrow series, Jim Lee's version of Superman was jacked. You know what I'm saying? No question. He was ripped. He looked like Superman. David Cornsweet doesn't necessarily look like a Superman per se. You know what I'm saying? But I look at his like when they first announced who was going to be this guy, who was going to be Superman. I was like, who is that? I've not seen anything he's done. I don't know
Right.
him from anything. So okay, cool.
Literally.
Maybe he'll be great. I don't have anything to base it on. So we'll give
Right.
him a shot. And the first time I see him, and I'm like, okay, this is from James Gunn, the same guy that made me give a damn about a talking raccoon in a tree. I'm gonna see what he does with it. I'm gonna see what he does with it. I don't necessarily think that it's the best visual depiction, but maybe the story makes up for it. Maybe there's some explanation in there. The thing is, you have to learn to like wait and see. Now, if we see it and collectively say, what the hell, this sucks, so be it. There's nothing wrong with that. And that's the thing I just can't seem to get people to always like buy into. Like, it is okay to not like something,
Right.
but have a reason to not like it. That's where the conversation with me is gonna fall real short. If I'm like, oh man, this show sucks, da 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 da. Well, I mean, I thought it was pretty good. Why don't you like it? Man, this thing is trash, man. That it? That's your whole okay. I'm not gonna dig. I'm not gonna pry. I'm not gonna like if you could just sum it up to this is trash. There's not a conversation, and I'm not trying to have that conversation. And I've just gotten to the point where it's like even online, I'm beginning to just not engage in anything negative as far as any
Nah.
content that's out. It is like right. I would agree. Nobody has that kind of patience. It is absolutely the patience issue. But again, it comes from when they dropped The Witcher on Netflix.
Mm.
Every episode is available right then. And to that point, I need Disney to understand the difference between a weekly series and maybe a short film. Because let me tell you something. I've been watching The Acolyte. I like The Acolyte. I do like The Acolyte. But can we get to the damn point? I'm just, I mean, like, I like this show. I like this show. You are,
I can appreciate though with Disney Plus, I can appreciate them wanting to kind of harken back to the weekly series, where you had to have some patience, not Siri, my phone. Um, where you had to have some patience and you had to wait till next week to find out what was going to happen. I can, I get that because I think we were getting maybe a little too used to the instant gratification. Something
Sure.
drops all 6, 7, 8 um, episodes drop, and you go binge them, and then it's over.
And then it's done.
But I do agree with you as far as it goes with Acolyte, because I mean it's still good, it's enjoyable, and every week I'm like, oh, I can't wait till Tuesday or whatever, even though they don't release it until like 9, and I'm
Right.
knee deep in something else, and I don't end up watching it until Wednesday. But but I still agree with you on Acolyte. They need to get to the point. I like it. It's interesting. It's got me drawn in and stuff. But short film. They're dragging their feet on this one. Although I have not. I was watching Acolyte a little while ago, and I have not seen the end of it. So maybe they made some grand revelation in the last 5 minutes. I doubt it, but
Well, it's just like when you watch a series, and because we get all of the news outlets, and I get so much geek news sent to me, Comic Book Reader, comicbook.com, Fandom Wire, Giant Freaking Robot, which always take with a grain of salt, but they're always the first to say something, whether it's true or not, but they're always the first to say something.
They gonna say it.
Right, they gonna say it. They just so that if it's right, they could be like, we said it first.
right.
But because I get all of this information all of the time, like it's always ear to the ground, all the news. Like I know when something's been renewed, probably before the cast sometimes. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I haven't heard that Acolyte is already renewed for a season 2. And sometimes when stories are pitched, when series are picked up, they have to tell the story as if they don't have a season 2.
Right.
And I absolutely feel like this is a story that's being told like they know a season 2 is coming. Because it feels like one of those things where when you watch a show, and this is when we were talking about trailers earlier, because Brandon and I were talking like, Deadpool and Wolverine, like not watching any more trailers for that. I have to avoid everything that says Deadpool and Wolverine now, just because we're so close. We're just weeks away at this point. Was it like actually 2 weeks at this point?
26.
Yeah. So
for me, I'm I'm a lay person. I'm not in the new.
No.
I don't be going to premieres like some people on the panel we're not going to talk about.
Hey, I used to be the premiere guy. I used to be the pre-screen guy. I got screener tickets all the time.
You must be talking about Screener.
And then my schedule changed. So now people have to let me know when screeners are available because they get all the screener tickets and stuff. But yeah, I was fortunate.
I have heard though that there will probably not be a pre-screening of Deadpool and Wolverine.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think they're trying to.
They want everybody to kind of experience it.
Yeah.
You would have to make everybody sign an NDA. You know what I'm saying? And there's no way to.
Yeah, maybe I should go to the midnight movie.
Monitor that many people. I mean, it's gonna be wild for this one.
Yeah.
And
well, I have to go because I know that I will not make it to Sunday without spoilers.
Right. You've got to at least do it by the weekend. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It just is. It's one of those movies, and it'll be everywhere, and I'll be upset.
And so, in trying to avoid spoilers and things like that, and when you watch trailers are designed to grab your attention. And what's happened now, and we've seen this so many times, they kind of ruin movies by giving you so much in trailers. They've been doing that for a while because we have so many choices. And when big movies are made, this is one of those times I kind of wish Jeff was here because he could give us all the behind the scenes on it. But when big movies are made, they need that box office to recoup a lot of that money. A lot of that money. Now, some of that money can be made up later in digital sales and VHS. And well, I mean, like we don't even do VHS and DVDs anymore. Like nobody carries, you only get DVDs like on Amazon. And it's usually of older stuff that's probably stockpiled. They're just trying to get rid of. But it's like, I remember when there was a big boom and a movie would be in the theater, you would wait for it to leave the theater, and you could not wait for it to come home or to show our age, for it to be available at Blockbuster. You know what I'm saying? And now it's like literally 45 days, it's available digital streaming.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, if I can't wait 1 month to watch something, it did not have my attention. I was not that excited. Now, can you make it that month without it being completely ruined? That's a whole other question.
Probably not.
And so, you know, you pick and choose what items are going to be like, okay, I'm okay if this one gets missed. I'm okay if I get this spoiled or whatnot. And you take that chance. But when they have a TV show, a series on any of the streaming services, and you look at the trailer, if I see that it has 2 or 3 seasons, or if it has multiple seasons, something in my brain tells me I don't have to worry about the main character. Like no harm is ever really going to come to the main character if they got 4 seasons on the show. So whatever cliffhanger you're trying to set up in season 1, I know he's going to get out of it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, and of course, it just takes you back
that way.
Well, it just takes me back to my youth when it was like, when we would say, you know, tune in next week, same bat time, same bat channel. Find out if the Batman's going to get out of the Riddler's trap this time. Like, as an adult, I look at that and I laugh because I'm like, is this going to be like, this is going to be the trap that captures Batman?
You never know. It could be the
right.
one.
Like you never know. This could be the one. This could be the
Mine
time.
is the summer hiatus. Like, do you remember Who Shot Mr. Burns?
I do.
Like,
yeah. Like, but at the time it was
ending, like, and then you had to wait 3 whole months. Like, by the time they came back on, I forgot what it was summer. I lost my mind, you know.
Remember when Stewie shot Lois?
Yes, I do.
And that gap, like, oh my God, when Brian, when they had the other dog for those episodes, like all of that, you know, but that's the thing, like I get the weekly buildup, and I like I can deal with the weekly cliffhangers, and I want to say it was not this week's episode, it might have been last week's episode. I literally thought it was going to fade to black one scene before it did, because there was that little pause, and then they go back to OSHA, and I was like, "Oh, okay." And then that was when she was holding the helmet, and so like that scene right before that when Saul was like, "And you're going to listen to what I have to say." I thought credits were going to roll, and then they go to OSHA. I was like, "Oh wait." So I like immediately had to check how much time is left in this episode. Wait, like I thought that would be the natural stopping point, and there wasn't. And it was like that last little bit right there. It's like, okay, let's see what you did there. A little tie-in, little audio tease, bringing it back into the same Star Wars universe. But it's like the problem with that weekly episodic nature is like, I can't even tell you the last TV show that I watched on regular TV. I genuinely don't. You know what? I believe Big Bang Theory was the last thing I watched on regular television every night when it came on a Thursday. And even then, it got to the point where I just started recording those episodes, and I would watch 3 or 4 episodes at a time on the weekend, or on my off day, something like that. I would binge through a couple episodes, delete all those, and then let them build up for a little bit, and then go back and watch them like that. So for some time, I've been a part of this Netflix, this streaming subculture. Everything that I watch and consume, I don't I don't have a problem. I sit down, I know what I want to watch. I go right to it. I don't do commercials. I pay the extra money to not watch commercials. I get enough advertising because I'm online all the time, and none of the advertising that is on these shows are ever accurate to me. And I feel like y'all should know me pretty well by now. Why are you showing me this wine? I don't drink wine. We don't buy wine in this house. Why are you still showing me this commercial for this wine? Now, I can tell you all about like the new AU Gold vodka, because it's all over my timeline. With the way streaming content is consumed, I found that it is more effective for the viewer the showrunners, they have to set up the show in a format that is reminiscent of the way we used to watch TV when TV was like that. Each show needs to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Each episode. Not necessarily a creature of the week, but here's the major conflict in this episode. Here's the resolution by the end of the episode. And then we can talk about the overarching season-long plot that has to be addressed. That way we keep that and we touch on that a little bit each episode till we get to the end of the season. And now here's the big reveal that we've been working on all season, or the big problem's been solved by the end of the season, that kind of thing. Because for these instant gratification streaming viewers, if you are giving me snippets of the same story, like The Acolyte, as much as I enjoy it, feels like a movie that's been broken up. It literally plays like if you could skip out of the intro and the recap on each episode and put Disney Plus in like a binge mode viewing where it plays the episode, and at the end of the episode, it skips past the opening credits, intro, and all that and goes right into the next portion of the episode, it would tie together very, very well. And once it ties together very, very well, you don't have those same cuts that throw you off. It feels like they took a movie and they just found natural stopping points and they said, that's going to be an episode. Because there's no consistency with things like this episode will be an hour. This episode will be 30 minutes. This episode will be 43 minutes. That episode's going to be an hour. Like, okay. I need to know to be able to plan this show. I knew that Batman was 30 minutes with 3 commercial breaks. I knew that Big Bang Theory was 30 minutes with 3 commercial breaks. And every so often they would have an episode. And at the end of the episode, it would say to be continued. And what? Oh no. And the next week I would come back and they would resolve that episode. Right. So that one problem was 2 episodes long. Now with the streaming stuff, we have one thing can be stretched out into 8 episodes. That can be a little jarring to watch if there's no consistency in the pattern of the show. Given that this is one big murder mystery for Star Wars, I love the concept. I love that it is something new and fresh. I get why people have problems with it. But I don't think they have problems with the right things. They're welcome to have problems with whatever they have problems with. But to me, that's where the show technically falls short. It's the delivery. It's the way we are being, I won't say forced to consume it, but the way they chose to break it up. You take something like X-Men. There was one story throughout the entire season. But every episode had a problem that had to be fixed, that was resolved by the end. It doesn't have to work out. It doesn't always have to be the heroes win. It can be good, bad, right, or wrong. But there was a problem and there was a resolution by the end of the episode. And then they make mention of the big overall story to keep you going to the end of the week or to the end of the series. I just like, maybe that's there needs to be more conflict in this story. It's like the same 4 people lying to each other. I mean, I don't know. I like when I look and dissect what a lot of people have to say about everything that's out, the content, whether it be the sequels, whether it be no new content, everybody's just rehashing old ideas. Ultimately, I think it all comes down to the way we have been taught to consume the media. And we are still viewing media in our COVID state. We're not viewing media post-COVID. We're not viewing media pre-COVID. We are still actively inside of our COVID viewing habits. And until we get enough big theatrical blockbusters to pull us out and get us back into theaters regularly, I think we're going to stay right here. Because I've invested a lot of money into my TV, my surround sound, my sofa, like all of that. So I could be very comfortable.
I
I feel
really,
like one. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Teresa.
I was just gonna say, I really think, I feel like the people who are going to go back to their pre-COVID habits have gone.
Yeah.
You know, because I appreciated movies that were released in the theaters and on streaming at the same time as well during the height of COVID. Um, I was really happy to, pop on Peacock and watch that Jennifer Lopez rom com or whatever. I didn't have to go to the theater. But now, I mean, you can see by my Facebook check-ins that I am at the theater like twice
Right.
a week, almost religiously, because I love going to the movies. I like
Right.
being at the theater, with the huge screen and with my friends. And that might be part of it too. I just had like an epiphany because at home it's just me.
Yeah.
No matter how big my screen, I could get a projector and
Yeah.
everything, but it's going to just be me, most likely.
Right.
But, I do like going to the movies with my friends. So that might be the difference. But so I'm back in the theaters. I'm back to pre COVID.
Okay.
And I think if you're not, it's been a minute now. It's going on a couple of years. We're
Yeah.
still leveling out, but going on a couple of years, and I feel like the people who were going back to the movie theaters are there, and everybody else has kind of gotten used to, like you said, 45 days. It's going to be on somebody's streaming service, so we'll just watch The Witcher until it hits Netflix.
Again, let's just
Yeah,
rewatch last season. Right. Right. Brandy, you had a thought. What were you going to say?
yeah.
I can't even remember. It must not have been important. Honestly, I don't remember.
No. That's fine. That's fine. Teresa, I think you do make a good point about the viewing, the atmosphere, because my movie partner, she's upstairs. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? So it's like there was a point where, because I was going to so many movies, I just had to give her a rundown of the movies I'm gonna see. You tell me which ones I have to wait for you. And I made a mistake and I went to a Star Wars movie without her. That's a big no-no.
You
My
won't do
wife,
that again.
my wife absolutely loves Star Wars. She could pass
Sorry.
on a Marvel, she could pass on a
One sec
DC.
on my end. I'll be right back.
She could pass on a Marvel, she could pass on a DC. But I am not to see Star Wars without her. So, as it stands right now, I'm waiting for our schedules to align for me to watch episode 7 with her. But she does know. She absolutely knows that by next Wednesday, I will have watched both episodes 7 and 8. So by Wednesday, it'll be season finale. I got to talk about the season finale. So got to be with me, babe. Like next Tuesday, we got to have both episodes watched because that'll be the end. When we talk about it Wednesday, I hope to have seen them both. Ergo, but that's about the only time she lets it slide. But it's little things like she doesn't watch House of Dragons, so that is on my time. I don't have to wait whenever I want to get to it. She tried The Boys. it's a little much for her. She's good on that. Um, and so when the different movies come out, like what's funny is I ended up watching The Beekeeper without her because I kept waiting. I kept saying like, "Hey, Beekeeper, Beekeeper, it's available." I thought like Jason Statham. I thought, and she was like, "Yeah, what's this one about?" And I was like, it doesn't matter. I'm trying to like watch a movie with you. Let's watch a movie." It's Jason Statham movie. That's what it's about. It's about Jason Statham again. And so it got to the point where it's like now our schedules have to kind of line up for me to watch something. And going to the theater is like my off days aren't the same as her off days kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like to like match up to make it out to the theater doesn't quite work the same. And so because of that, I think that plays a little bit of a part perhaps in maybe my hesitation to return to the theater. But I'll pose this as a question rather than a statement. Do you think the content that is released is designed for us to consume it at home, or do you think these things are designed to be seen in a theater?
It depends on the movie, doesn't it? The
Yeah.
genre. Like there are certain movies like Deadpool and Wolverine where I want to see that on the big screen. I want to
Right.
see the big epics and the superhero movies. The I want to go to the IMAX and just have that whole, when it's a grandiose movie. But you know, a rom com, a comedy. I'm not necessarily pressed to go and have the theater experience. Like I think about the experience I had in the theater during Endgame.
Yeah.
Um, I'm like Teresa. I'm at home. I'm by myself. So sometimes it is nice to have that group experience when you're watching something. You can
Yeah.
be like, "Hey, did you see that?" Or you know what I mean? And
I need
y'all
the
have
collective
collective.
gasp in the audience when things
Yeah,
happen. I need everybody cheering
yeah.
at the same time. Yeah, and don't get me wrong. I would absolutely agree that there are certain movies that are designed for the theater.
Hmm.
But the reason I pose that question is one, I think about all of the like Netflix is a production studio right up there with Paramount, Universal, Warner Brothers. Like you want to make something, you can pitch it to Netflix.
Hmm.
Right.
I mean, hell, you can pitch something to Tubi and start shooting tomorrow. Like they
You don't have
glad
to
to make a
pitch the
movie.
Tubi. Yeah, I think you could pitch something at Tubi and they'll catch it and put it on the
You know what I'm
service
saying? Like
regardless.
Literally.
if
You
you
could
got the
take
whole
something
thing
in the parking
recorded,
lot
right?
of
If you got the
Tubi,
whole thing
Right.
bring
recorded, just upload the video, they'll put it out.
Yeah.
But to the it's like I definitely think that I would imagine that as a director, as someone who has fantasized about making a movie, I would think that every person who sets out to make a movie is thinking people are going to be sitting in a theater collectively watching their film. When you make something that ends up on HBO Max, you make something that ends up on Paramount Plus, you get some liberties that you wouldn't have on network television. Not everything is a sitcom. So I get that everything has a place to go, but then I think about things like Rebel Moon Part 1 and 2. Do you know how pissed I would have been if I had gone to a theater and had a theater experience for Rebel Moon? Now,
But I think what you're saying is something that comes from our age. Now, I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure Brandy is not as old as we are, and you're not as old as I am. But I think
It's
this is
okay.
something that we remember, and something that we kind of relate to. You know, it's that desire to be a director, or a Spike Lee, a writer,
Yeah.
director, actor in your movie, and what you're thinking is this movie on the big screen. But you have 30-year-olds who have never lived in a world without Netflix.
Mm.
Right.
So, they're in film school or whatever, and they may be envisioning this movie that, whereas for us, it might have been a big screen as opposed to a streaming service, or as we can relate to, a straight to DVR, a straight to
Right.
DVD, or,
Yeah.
or,
Direct to
uh,
video.
or VHS, right? Direct to video. For them, it might be, that Netflix might be what they're shooting for, because, like I said, they're 30 years old and they've never lived in a world without Netflix.
I mean, I guess at the end of the day, a paycheck is a paycheck.
Right. And
And
like you
and
said, like now Netflix and Prime Video and
Apple
Hulu,
TV.
right,
yeah,
Apple
oh yeah.
TV,
Dark Matter. Oh, so good. I've been
they
enjoying
are
that.
basically, what are they, 20th Century Fox, and
Yeah.
all, that's the big time now,
Yeah.
to get your movie, because Ryan Gosling,
Yeah.
Chris
He did The
Evans,
Gray
The
Man,
Rock, my
Red Notice.
favorite, Owen Wilson. These people are doing straight to Netflix, straight to Prime Video movies, because they're still getting $100 million to make them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And
also, we have to, I'm sorry,
no, no, no. Go ahead.
we have to also recognize that this is the generation, we're also dealing with the generation that came up with social media. um they had Vine, they've had YouTube, they've had,
Yeah.
now TikTok. They know it's a lot easier to watch something and consume it on Netflix when you're home, because most people are multitasking and doing all this stuff,
Yeah.
and you can kind of let it, as opposed to a lot of people, it's just not as easy to get up and go to the movies. The movies is expensive. You got to drive. You got to da da da. You know what I'm saying? We're used to consuming content at our fingertips at a moment's notice. So getting onto a streaming service is actually not a bad thing. It's just like getting a viral TikTok, or having a
Yeah.
viral YouTube video. It's
Right.
just about getting the content out there. And in small doses, like a Netflix show or, a Hulu show may be better, because somebody who wouldn't sit through a 3 or 4 hour documentary on, hip hop will watch 6 episodes.
Right. Watch a little bit now, a little bit later,
Hmm.
and different things. Like for TV shows, I absolutely believe that it is a blessing if you have a TV show, if you have a series, um, getting on Hulu, Netflix, any streaming service, any streaming platform, I think is a definite benefit, because people are paying for the content. So you remove a lot of the FCC restrictions and things like that. You can have whatever rating you want, and it's like, I think sometimes that's why certain content they want to make a movie so that they can do more that they normally wouldn't be able to do on a 30-minute show and stuff like that. Um, but also, just the difference between something being on Fox and being on FX. You know, you have a little bit more freedom to say things that you wouldn't normally be able to say, do things you wouldn't normally be able to do, and such. Um, and when you get to Netflix, I think the first movie that I remember being on Netflix as a Netflix original movie was The Hitman's Bodyguard. And it was Sam Jackson, Ryan Reynolds,
Right.
and it was like they got real actors. They got big names to do this movie.
Right.
Now, the funny thing is, of course, I don't think Samuel L. Jackson turns down a role. I think he's so grateful to be an actor, and I don't say that being funny. I genuinely mean, like, as a blessing. If you ask him to do something, he is 100% supporting the arts and will do your movie. And so, Ryan Reynolds at the time was not who he is. So it was kind of like, but these were names that you knew. These were famous actors. And for them to have a movie and it come on Netflix. Since then, the number of movies that have been Netflix originals have been just amazing. You know what I'm saying? And Netflix is putting out some good shit because you got The Old Guard, you got The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, you got Extraction. I mean, it's some good movies on Netflix.
Mhm.
And even with like all the TV shows that like Amazon puts out, Amazon Prime, they're killing it in that genre. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, that's where it kind of makes me wonder, thinking back to what Matt Damon was saying, they only got $9 million budget to make Manchester by the Sea. And this is one of those movies that would have filled out the docket. Like my local theater, 16 screens. 5 of them are the same movie now. It almost
Yeah.
feels like there's not a lot of movies in the theater. And I almost think that a lot of movies aren't getting made to be theatrical releases because you can just go right here and put it on Netflix. And so there are movies that come to the theater. Definitely, like Therese said, she there twice a week. So there are definitely movies in the theater. But the hype around the movies isn't, I genuinely feel like it's not the same because and I won't even say it's the cost factor. Thank God I've grown up a little bit. I make enough money. If I want to go to the movies, we can go to the movies. You know what I'm saying? And the timing, yeah, there's a little bit there in regards to the timing, trying to schedule. Oh man, they need to hurry up with Old Guard too, right? Uh, but it's still like I feel like the only movies that now warrant theatrical release are Deadpool Wolverine. They are the big budget, big sci-fi epic films. And gone are the days where an Axel F has a chance in the theater. I
I
think
don't know
because
why
of
they
that.
didn't release that. I was having a conversation about that. Like that very much feels like a movie that could have been released in the movies and in the Netflix, but also I think I don't know. With Axel F, I got exactly what I was looking for, which is pure nostalgia. But it was very well done. Very well done. I believe in a much better it felt way more organic than Coming to America too. I can't
Right.
explain why that is, but
Right.
it just did. It felt like this is Axel Foley 30 years later.
Right.
And he's doing Axel and he goes to Beverly Hills and his friends are there and they're all the same friends just 30 years later. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
it felt very seamless to me. Like and I don't want to get into any spoilers or anything, but like just returning characters and things of that nature where it was just like, but this makes sense though. Like
Right.
this feels like
This is
and I don't mean it's a movie, of course, but
the
like this
natural
feels like
progression of those characters.
yes,
I'm with
yes, yes.
100%.
It
And
wasn't
I
it
think it was
didn't feel
because
forced. Everybody felt very comfortable in their roles. It's like they all just kind of put those suits back on and was like, go. You
shout
know,
out to Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who I think did a lot of
yes,
heavy
he
lifting
did
in this
very,
movie.
very well, and he fit in very, very well. But I love him, and
Right.
I'm glad to see him coming back around because he kind of died off for a while, and I thought, oh, because he's been doing this a long time, so I thought, but I'm glad I like him as an actor. I've liked him since he was a kid.
It was in theaters. You know what? It was in theaters after they released it on Netflix. It
Oh, I
did come
didn't
out
know
on
that. I
Netflix.
thought about that. I
It
didn't
came
know it
out
was
on Netflix
after.
first, and then it came out in the theaters. And I remember thinking, like, why would you put it on streaming first, then do a theatrical release? That makes no
It's
sense.
such a hit that they were like,
Exactly
oh, shoot, we
right,
should.
and that's probably what they did. But yeah, Bright never made it to theaters, and you got a big name like Will Smith.
Right.
The fact that they can pull those big names is proof positive that like they got money, they making these movies, and
Not just in the movies that they make and on these streaming services, but in the shows. The
yeah,
casts on some of these shows,
Yeah.
I don't have all of the streaming services because I'm not independently wealthy, but
no, we
like some of those Apple TV shows that I see the cast for, I'm like, what the heck?
yeah,
Meryl Streep, you know, like,
yeah,
what
Right.
is happening?
no, absolutely. And I've so often wondered like something like Invincible and The Boys has to be more than like brand recognition. You know what I'm saying? Like, how does Amazon make money on The Boys? Like, because one, they are putting in the budget for The Boys. They are sparing no expense to make that show, and I appreciate them for it. But it's like watching that show on Amazon Prime does not. That feels like my reward because I order something twice a week. You know what I'm saying? I only order something twice a week because I ain't got the patience to wait for it. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to. As soon as Amazon Prime decides to open up grocery stores and I can do all of my grocery shopping, right now we have a couple of things set up on like the recurring memberships, whatnot. I promise you, remember that Bruce Willis movie Surrogates? I'm gonna be
Yes.
first in line, okay? All of everything. I got so much stuff in my house that's automated. Elon Musk talking about putting chips in, and like, hey, cyborg me up. I'm with it. You know what I'm saying? I
Not
do not.
for Elon Musk.
I
He would
would not.
absolutely object.
I would not be opposed to having an NFC chip that I could just like do and pay for shit because I've been using my phone since that was a thing. Before Apple Pay, before people had even figured out Apple Pay, I was over here with my Samsung Pay, dude, paying for stuff, and they was like, "Oh wow, what is that?" And I got it on my watch. I'm telling you, I am like full cyborg mode. Let's go. Um,
Do have the Amazon grocery stores, and you just scan on your way in, and then it you get a device or your cart. It count the cart when you put
Keeps up
stuff in the
with it.
cart.
Yeah.
yeah, they ain't got one near me. They ain't got one.
Me neither. I never been in one, but there was
I
one in
know what you're
Chicago.
talking
I
about.
should have
I
went.
can't now. I can do the we do the Walmart pickup, we do the Kroger pickup, we do the Publix Instacart. Um, I've had groceries shipped. I find that I prefer to still, and this is crazy, I still prefer to go to the store and have the groceries loaded as opposed to having the groceries brought to the house. Um, for some reason, I've just noticed there's better communication between the shopper when you go to pick it up as opposed to when they're just going to bring it to you. Could be just be coincidence with my shoppers out here. I don't know. But that's always worked out a little bit better for me. And
I
it
only get
allows
my groceries delivered in the winter. Like when it's wintertime here and it's like today's temperature is 10 degrees. And I'm like, yeah,
oh yeah, we
in
we definitely
because
getting
they'll
something
deliver
delivered
it.
there.
They'll bring it to the house, and I'm like, good, because you can freeze. Listen, here's a tip. I tip generously. You know,
Right,
there's snow and all the debris. Did you dodge the debris? My eggs okay? Thank you so much. I
right.
don't need to leave.
Like you be safe out there now.
Right.
You know what?
But
And
I found that when it comes to like produce and like meats and things of that nature,
yeah,
I prefer to go to the store myself.
yeah, and there's and
People
there's
are
nothing wrong with it. Like
dumb.
everything that we have right now, like we have like paper towels, toilet paper, cat food. Like when
Yeah.
I say like some serious non-perishables, are
Laundry soap, stuff like that.
they're on like a
Yeah.
like we have cat food that's going to be delivered Monday. Currently, our cat is out of food, so we had to swing in today and pick up a couple cans to last till the box ships on Monday. Stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And so we have a lot of stuff that is actually automated, and it comes and it goes. And it's like my groceries are pretty much another recurring streaming service. And like my whole life has just become managing all of my recurring fees. That's it. That is everything in my life is just like, don't let them give me that option to make it a monthly charge. We would just do that instead.
You know, it's crazy. I was thinking about like my dad, he still had a checkbook. Like he was so stubborn. He had credit card. He had a debit card, but he would be the person that writes a check because he just like I run a check because I write a check.
Yeah.
Well, my
Um,
dad is still like that
but
too.
when is the last time? I cannot even remember the last time I physically wrote. I don't even know what my
Right.
checkbook is. Somebody could rob me blind.
I know where my checkbook is.
I know where mine are.
I have not had to write a check. I've written one check in the last 11 years. I know that because every time I open the checkbook, it is on check number two. Um, it is on check number two. And the last check we wrote it was electronically deposited. Like they did the ACH checking draft, but I had to give them a physical check to do it. Um, and that was the last time we wrote a check, and we had to replace our air conditioning unit, and they needed a substantial deposit. I was like,
As
who
one
keep extra
does.
cash on them? Like I have to go into the bank to get that kind of money out. I can't go to an ATM. I don't know what kind of ATM you got. My ATM has
Right.
daily limits, and I can't take that much out. Any ATM, they will put my whole account on hold if
I
that
was about
much
to
money.
say they're gonna think you was under coercion.
Right, this was
Sir, are
under
you okay? Blink
right.
yes.
Yeah, we froze your entire account, Mr. Morgan. We saw this large amount come out, and that's unlike you. And so, what I had to do, I gave them the check, and of course, they did the ACH, and my bank had no problem approving that. I'm like, when was the last time you saw me write a check? And you cleared that? Okay, see, we got a problem.
I just I was like, I don't know about being chipped and all this. I don't take half as much advantage of my phone. Yeah, like he's at 15 years. I really don't remember the last time I had to write a check. Because I mean,
Other than that check, the last check I wrote bounced. I can tell you that. I do remember that because that account was a Wachovia account and it closed. So
oh
that part,
Lord, the Markovia accounts.
there you go. Went all the way back. That was before Wells Fargo became Wells Fargo. They were a bank called Wachovia. That's how long ago. As far as, like I've watched things like Black Mirror, and of course, there is automatically all of the worst things that could happen are going to happen to the first few people who do the things. I know that. And if you wait until chipping becomes standard practice and you get it done at your local tattoo shop or something, because it's just going to be a dermal implant or whatnot. So I don't imagine there's going to be, there will probably be, you can go to the store and buy NFC cards, same way you go to the store and you buy SIM cards. I mean, I've kind of visualized and thought it out about how this process is going to go. And I have like smart glasses. You know what I'm saying? These are my Razer smart glasses. I want to get the Ray-Ban Metas with the camera built in. I hate that I missed out on Google Glass. I'm not paying the money to look like anybody looks who wears the new Apple headgear. We ain't doing that. You better better redesign it. I need that to go. Like, let me get the 5th gen version that looks like this. But I do have the VR, the Meta VR thing. I have one. I don't have the Apple one. You got that kind of money over here, but I do have the regular Facebook one, the Oculus. I have one of those, and I love all of the different things that technology can do. I have some friends who, in fact, one of our regulars, Jeff. Jeff is a professional artist in every sense of the word. So I definitely have like some mixed feelings regarding things like AI technology and such, and how AI art can be used. But ironically, just today, I saw a friend of mine. She posted online. She used one of the AI photo app generators, and she has pictures of her daughter who unfortunately passed away, and she was able to use the AI tools to like create all these new scenarios and pictures of her daughter, and it was like that's how AI should be used. You know what I'm saying? And because it was a little bit more, and granted, that's not to say that someone like a Jeff or some of these people who are very talented and capable couldn't create these same images for her. There's an expense involved in that, and that's somebody's time. And I probably have what 1,500 photos on my phone right now. I got matter of fact, where is it? Here's a digital picture frame I have yet to power up and load. I have a digital picture frame right here. My wife said she wanted one. We got one. Here it is. You think this thing has even been turned on yet? I won't tell you when she got it, but take a quick guess. She asked for something and got it. When do you think she got that? And here it is. It's yet to be turned on and loaded and have a single picture on it. All the pictures are still on my phone. I have to go to my Google Photos regularly and download those photos onto my external drive so I can create space for new photos to upload. See? But if I just had like a 5 terabyte in my net
In your neck.
hard drive, like Johnny Mnemonic, you know?
I'm actually on a Black Mirror rewatch. I'm in the second at the end of the second cycle or whatever, and I just
Yeah. It goes both
like I
ways.
know that it's coming, and I know that there's nothing you can do about it. It's just going to be a thing that you have to do. Just like they're like if your ID doesn't have the star, I don't know where you're going type
Can't
stuff.
get
You
on the
just
plane.
Right.
right. You're gonna have to do what you got to do. I don't know. Technology terrifies me in a way
And
that is very deep and visceral because I know the lengths that people will go to be lazy. Not that it's lazy to use technology though, because I mean my car is a computer. I'm on a laptop that I was like, what are the bytes and all of the things because so I can play my game. Like I'm not anti technology. I am anti personal technology. Things that like
technology abuse.
that and you know your friend and the pictures with her daughter is an amazing and incredible story. I think that's really cool that you can do that. I've seen people do that with like the Paint Your Life, where they can have their loved one in a picture with someone they haven't seen before and things of that nature. Like, I think that's awesome. But also, that episode of Black Mirror where she had the AI consciousness and she downloaded a body and it became a
Yeah.
problem. Because
Yeah.
how many of us, myself included, wouldn't love to be able to see their loved one in that way.
Yeah.
So like
I mean, there's definitely like a Pet Cemetery esque possibility with some of the technological capabilities. Because to that episode you speak of, like they use the Facebook profile.
yeah.
They use the person's social media profile to structure a consciousness for the Android, I guess is the right term. Uh, 1,100. Right. See,
1100
that's what I'm
pictures
saying.
is
Like
wild.
it's
And
crazy.
I'm not a picture taker. And I feel bad because there has been so many times where I was like, I was completely in the moment and did not take this video, did not do this. I barely
You know
took
what?
pictures here.
There have been so many times that there's so many things in my life that are just memories and not
Yeah.
photos. And I'm okay. I'm at it. I'm old enough to like be okay with that. I go to a concert. I'm gonna get a picture before the concert.
Pretty
I'm gonna get a
much.
picture after the concert. You're not gonna see me in the whole concert. I'm not watching the concert through my phone.
No,
And
I
if I
just
do
went
have my
to
phone recording at the concert, it's like this. and I'm
You
like
can hear me
recording
singing.
off to the side the whole video. I go back and look at it.
I'm
Well, delete.
terrible.
Wasn't nothing good there. I wasn't even looking at I was too busy watching Janelle Monáe to perform to realize I wasn't recording Janelle Monáe performing. I'm
I
recording
went
these group of
to
people over here.
Janet with my cousin and a friend of his who was much younger than us. And I had the time of my life. I lost my voice for 3 days. I just had a ball at Janet Jackson. And I got maybe a picture of Nelly when he was performing. Not one video, none of that. The On our way home, the guy who came with us, who was in his 20s, he had produced an entire montage of video footage with the music. I was like, "What in the? We are in the car!" Like
Let me tell
Because
the
you.
we come
difference.
from a time when you couldn't do that. When you
Yeah,
didn't do that, you went to a concert, you watched the concert, and you
Right.
had
yeah,
memories, and you went home and you discussed the memories. These kids, their whole life is recording it on the phone, and like
yes,
you said, having a montage ready to post to TikTok or something,
yeah.
the moment they walk
Did you
out
see
of,
Busta Rhymes going off on the crowd?
Yeah.
yeah.
His phones
And
down.
I
I'm not
Because
from
he
that
comes from
generation.
our era, like Miranda Lambert did too. Cuss the
Yeah,
girls out because in her eyes they weren't paying attention to the show. They're down there
right.
taking selfies, but they're in their 20s. That's the way
right.
they see concerts. They're here and they're getting themselves and the concert going on behind them. And she
Yeah.
Right.
doesn't get that because she's, I want to say old like us, but not, we're not old. We're you know what I
She's
mean.
not young. We'll
But
say
it's
that.
true. It's so true.
We're not going to do the old geezers podcast tonight because let me tell you, I have some finger wagging moments when it comes
Oh
to that kind
yeah.
of stuff, especially ironically enough on this social media, and it's just like everything ain't what it posts to be, and just, let me tell you,
I remember what I was
Finger
going to say
wagging
earlier.
and off my lawn.
it can look
Because
all
this is kind of a finger wagging, but it ties into what we were talking about earlier. I was going to say, as far as like kind of the way we consume. Um, so people are, and this doesn't have to become a breakdown of any of this, but just kind of as an aside, people are talking about Kendrick Lamar,
right.
and they're saying, "Oh, he drug this out, this song. He released the song last month, and he's just dragging it out to do a video now." And I'm like, that's because now it's like this. There's a news cycle, 24 hours, new news cycle. Everything moves like this. The fact that he even has a 5-minute song is amazing because nowadays everybody's song is 2 minutes and 30 seconds. They don't have a bridge.
But
They don't let the song breathe. They like, because I wanted on a TikTok. I wanted somebody to pick up the. So I'm like, I remember how long I had to wait between Hit 'em Up and Big's album. Like, do you understand the length of time that between the blueprint and ether? When people are like, Kendrick needs to respond, he ain't responded yet. He needs to respond. And I'm like, it's been a week. Let him. But that's our society. Everything
death
is,
certificate in any response
Yep.
that like you talk about that weight, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. And the fact, and see, but even that was amazing because once upon a time there was no streaming service to drop the music on.
no.
So
Right.
for any of
Instead of
these,
going in the basement.
for any of these artists, something like a pop-up concert would have been the only thing you had. And if you weren't there,
Yeah,
you
you
might not
missed
even
it.
hear about it. If it didn't make the news, who was
Right.
going to tell you? Arnell Starr was only tapped into local artists for the
A
longest time.
month later, you would read about it in Vibe. That's how we got our information.
Yeah,
Vibe and
the
the
source.
source,
Yeah, you would hear
maybe
that.
MTV News sometimes,
Right. Now see, yeah, okay. Now if
BET.
it would have made it on like 106 in Park, they would have talked about it.
Yeah, stuff like
AJ and
that's where
Free
we
would have
got
told
our
us about
music
it. Um,
news.
What
Like I
was
said,
that?
Big Tigger in the basement. Like
Yeah. I'm like, what was that one dude on MTV News, the old white guy? Like, I like it. Everything he said was law. Like
Kurt
that
Kurt
just
Loder.
Loder.
Kurt Loder. That boy, that damn Kurt Loder. Kurt Loder would have been the one to report on the Kendrick and Drake beef.
Yes.
We would have gotten updates from him on that. And what was the
They really did take time back then. It was like,
yeah.
ooh, like LL with Jack the Ripper, like Mama said knock you out. And then how long before what's the song he did 5432 where like it was the him and the cannabis beef, it went for like 2 years.
I mean, it took time because it took time. And the thing was, like, if you heard somebody say something about you, you had time to actually like find out and validate and verify. So that was another thing. Beefs were like real beefs. And
Yeah.
and this is not to discredit the situation here. I think Kendrick Lamar has been very consistent in his distaste for Drake. I don't think
Yeah.
he's ever really like said anything else. He's been pretty consistent in that front. Um, I think the one thing that has stood out to me as far as the whole hip hop beef is the current beef. Let me say that. Um, the quickness in which everybody gets to be a part of it. I saw I heard when the first song came out, first person shooter.
Yeah.
I heard that, and I didn't think that was a diss necessarily. I didn't.
Neither.
I was just like, okay, cool. We're the big three. Boom, boom, boom. Okay.
Right.
And then it's like, well, he asked a question like, who's the big three? Is it, you know what I'm saying? So it's like everybody has a different opinion about who the best of those three would be. Some people would say this, some people say that, some people that. Okay, cool. I get that. Kendrick has always stated he's the best. Every song, ain't not one time did he ever say he was not the best. Again, certain consistency coming from him. J. Cole, when he got involved and did his song and then he stepped back out, all I could think about was I can't remember the name of the song, but he actually said that he would not speak on another rapper's name because his album wasn't hitting the same. It wouldn't be for clout. It wouldn't be to sell some new shoes. Like he did a little sneak dissing when he did those lines. But none of that was addressed to Kendrick at the time. And the fact that he tried to get involved in this, but then stepped out, I was like, you know what? That's consistent with his character. That's consistent with what he's always said in his songs.
Here's my opinion of that. I feel like when J. Cole dropped and then Drake dropped, and J. Cole, I honestly in my heart of hearts, I believe a phone call was made. I believe that a phone call was made and Kendrick told J. Cole, this don't really got nothing to do with you, fam. Like this ain't really about you.
You know what?
And I think at that
I
point,
said
J.
that and
Cole was
somebody
like,
would
you know,
laugh.
I,
The
I
fact
ain't
that he
really
just
in
like
this.
was let go and never addressed again.
Right.
No
Because it was never
response.
about J. Cole. It
Never
was
about it.
never about J. Cole.
I
He
was
would have been a casualty. But I don't
right.
even think that
Right.
Kendrick has anything on J. Cole. You know what I'm saying? Nobody has anything on J. Cole. He's cool. He don't be in no mess.
Right. And
I
that's
don't
the
believe
thing.
it was ever about him. And I think once Drake responded, Kendrick was like, yeah, no, this is about us. I don't
Yeah.
like him.
I always thought it was funny that in the different responses, like
Yeah, that LL cannabis beef, Mr.
yeah,
Man in the comments. That LL
yeah,
cannabis beef was something serious. Kids today will never know.
never know what that was like. And that was when I found out just like how raw LL Cool J was.
Absolutely. I think
Like
that's when
LL was
everybody was
like
like,
that
oh
cool rapper guy that. And
yeah.
then like I started looking into some of his freestyles. I was like, yo, that's L. Like L is that dude. Okay, that's why he came out with the album Go because he really that guy. Okay, I didn't know at the time. I was naive. I didn't know. But what I do think, uh,
Facts. I don't think
yeah,
it ever had anything to do
yeah,
with J. Cole.
yeah, it's definitely about Drake, no question. But what I thought was very interesting is like when Drake did one, I forget which song it is, the one where he was like going off on everybody else, Rick Ross, Metro, and he's like trying to,
Yeah, yeah.
it's like 20-1. It's like, bro, ain't no one person made this song about you. Why is you attacking all these other people?
Well, the
That
thing
reminded
is
me,
like he stays attacking people. That's why I didn't understand why everybody was so shocked that people came at him. And it's like he stays doing this. He stays like the thing to me, and again, I listen, I'm gonna be real honest. I've been a Kendrick fan since I first heard ADHD and I ran and downloaded Section 80. So I've never been a Drake fan. He don't I appreciate what he does. He makes bops. I done bop my head and tap my toe to many Drake song, but the only Drake album that I ever really played was the very first mixtape. That I was infatuated with him then. And then so I've been kind of following this whole I'm a gangster now, which I was like, wait, what? Like what is that? What is going on? You know what I'm
bro, like
saying?
you
Like
forget we
now you in the
watched
mob?
you
Like
grow
what?
up. We watched you grow up. Don't do that. We
Right.
know better.
So, but I figured, like again, today is today, and the way people are in the world, you can just create whatever image. Even if people knew you yesterday, you can say today I'm this, and they'll be like, "No, what do you mean? She's always been a vampire parakeet cleaner. What are you talking about?" Like people just, So I thought I'm just old. You know what I mean? And that's okay. Everything doesn't have to be for everybody.
Agreed.
Um, but I was like, the reason why this because don't get me wrong, Drake fought Kendrick. He did. He fought him. Family Matters, that song was something serious. I was like, oh, okay, Drake. Now he done put out the video and everything. He's serious. He just did not understand that Kendrick Lamar is unhinged. He didn't understand that Kendrick been waiting. Like Kendrick was like, okay, I feel like he lit a fire under this man. I feel like maybe he was in a creative slump. Drake came along and he was like, he got in the studio. You know what I mean? Like, and I think he greatly underestimated Kendrick's reach
Remember Clubber
and
Lang
cultural.
from Rocky? Imagine
Yeah,
if
like he didn't know LA was going
wait,
to stand behind Kendrick, or he
if,
would have never made the statement that I'm hotter than you in your own city.
right. All
You
I
know what
could
I
think
mean?
was when I saw Drake's response, it was like you said, valiant effort. It was a hard fight. I would
Yes.
give it that. Um, but I think about like the movie Rocky, and here's the reigning champion taking on the average Joe, Clubber Lang.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Come
Yeah.
on out, let's do this fight. I'm gonna show you what a fight is."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
because
Literally
you the
goaded him
champion,
into it.
and because you the champion, you think like, "Oh, we'll go a couple of rounds. All right, let's do it." And you got put on your ass and you lost. Only the movie ended there. There ain't no rematch, ain't no coming back. And the best thing to do is to just go back to doing what you were doing and let this man talk about you and just pretend like you don't hear it.
Yeah, I do like Cole as well. I am also definitely a J. Cole fan.
Yeah.
You can tell the difference between someone being themselves. That's why I was trying to explain to people like it's not about race because you don't see people going at Eminem like that. I ain't even seen people coming at Jack Harlow like that
Nah.
because they are just being who they are. You know what I mean? Like, okay, you could look at like a yellow wolf and be like, now, sir. But for the
Actually,
most
I
part,
think,
when people are authentic in themselves, people allow them to be. The Beastie Boys, Third Base,
yeah.
you
See,
know,
I was gonna say like I would probably put Yellow Wolf over like an MGK.
I would put Yellow Wolf over MGK, but it's not saying much.
That not much. But just in terms of like, I think there's probably a little bit more authenticity in a Yellow Wolf than there is in an MGK. But it's neither
I agree
one
with
of
that.
them are going to be like a Paul Wall, and you know
Right.
what I'm
The
saying.
people's champ to this day. To this day.
And it's like I definitely think there's something about the authenticity of the
It's the
individual.
difference between John B and Justin Timberlake. You can tell when somebody is in it and when somebody's just playing in it.
Yeah.
Nobody really questioned Tina Marie. Tina was in it. She always was in it. She died in it. You know what
It's
I'm saying?
it's
Like,
it's one of those things where like, and this is funny. This is where we go in this statement though, but like I think it just became a thing of like everybody don't need to come to the cookout.
Thank you.
Simply put,
Thank you.
too many invites got put out.
Oof.
Everybody started inviting everybody to the damn cookout, and now we got a velvet rope at the door now. I don't give a damn who invited you to the cookout. This is
You're not
some
on
shit
the
I
ain't for
list.
just
you.
I just consider it a win for hip hop. As a hip hop fan, I am all for hip hop and expression and like the true nature of hip hop, and I saw it and it made me excited.
There
Um,
was there was one thing I saw that like really stuck out to me. The YouTube collective Supreme Dreams, you
okay,
know the group I'm talking about.
I
They were
do.
showing they were doing some little skits and videos about the beef going back and forth, and
Paul Wall
one
is
of the
that
one
dude.
of the skits was like Kendrick dropped, and then of course Drake was like, he's like, yo, he's like, yeah, we got it. That's gonna be the jam right there. And then he's like, yo, Kendrick just dropped again. He was like, what? What you mean he dropped again? I just
Yeah,
dropped. He was like,
yeah.
yeah, he dropped again. It's not his turn to drop. Wait, is it his turn? Is it his turn? And then he was like, yo, I don't think he care if it's his turn. Like, and he's like, okay, no, that's cool. That's cool. You know what? We will get in the lab. And he's like, bro, we don't have time. Everybody's not ready. He's like, you know what? It's cool. I'm Drake. I got this. Okay, let's see. And I do believe there was some actual authenticity in some of the stuff Drake may have actually. I feel like he's been doing this long enough to have picked up some ability. There's always been a question as to whether or not Drake had ghostwriters and this, that, and the other. I never cared about that part because I was never a huge Drake fan. It didn't matter to me if he did, it didn't. Obviously, what he was putting out was pretty good. And it just felt
Right.
like, if nothing else, this dude got a lot of songs. Like, I have to skip a lot of his stuff.
Yes.
Let me just say that. Like, you
I
have
will also
obviously,
say though, if you had a collective behind you writing for you, and I'm not talking about, we've heard the reference tracks where Drake is literally just rapping this person's rap, like the way that they're rapping, the way their accent is.
yep,
We know what it is, but I'm not going to sit here and say he doesn't contribute anything
yeah,
musically.
yeah. No,
But he has writers, he has, and I mean writers as a collective. Like we all sit around. I'm going to come up with the beat. I'm going to help you with the concept. I'm going to help. You know what I'm saying? You would come out at the end of the day. Like I said, as a Kendrick fan, it bothers me that people are like, Kendrick using this as a come up. Like this is how he's going to get on. Like, sir, he has so
have
many
you seen?
Grammys.
Right.
Right.
He has
Been
a
on.
Pulitzer Prize.
Let me
Shows
introduce
must
you.
be
His
very young
songs, his
people.
albums. He's got an album that's been on the charts. What did they say? 10 years. It's Good Kid, Mad City has been on the charts. Please
Those must
don't
be,
disrespect that man.
Yeah,
yeah.
those are some fans whose feelings is hurt because it's not going their way, and
They'll be over it.
it's
Drake will come out with something hot and it'll be in the wind. I'm more concerned with what was actually said and what hasn't been refuted. Because I'm gonna tell you something. It's only a few things that you could accuse me of that I'm not going to come out and be like, I ain't do that shit. Now I
even
may
if
have
I don't
done a
have to
lot.
put it in a rap, we just gonna take a few seconds to post an
Right.
Instagram
Like,
story and be like,
Right.
let me
hey,
explain some things that I've
I
never
need y'all.
done.
Is this my camera over here? Look, okay, and if and the
Right.
fact that you didn't do that was
But
like,
Right.
there's too much
Like,
evidence. So
hmm.
I think that's
I
why
will
It's
he's
say
fair.
keeping that one close.
the funniest thing that I've seen come out of this was in the next collab song that Drake did. Um, he actually rapped over the BBL Drizzy beat himself,
Yes.
and I
I
was
saw
like,
I didn't hear it because I think it was the Sexy Red song and I just can't.
yeah. I mean,
So
it comes on the
that's not for
radio.
me. That's not my ministry.
That is I don't know whose ministry that
That's
is. I don't.
that's
I
not
don't.
it. That's not a ministry.
Yeah. Well, Mary Magdalene. But anyway, I
Don't you
didn't do
ever
that.
disrespect Mary
Right?
Magdalene.
Like, look, I didn't do that. I popped my own hand. My bad. Okay. But nonetheless, I thought it was a very interesting take for Drake to, and I mean, I guess there's a part of me that's like, okay, well, obviously he doesn't take it that serious that he's, like this is him jacking beats and now he's just going to rap over it to show how little he's affected. But are you saying that the beat is good enough to be in your song? So you telling Metro shut up and make beats and he made a beat and you like it and you rapped on it? So it was a good beat? I don't think that went the way
You
you
never
thought that
said
it went.
you didn't have a BBL.
Right. Like that don't think that works the way you think that works.
My
You could
thing,
have
like
just
I
been
said,
like,
I
you could have anything you could, I'm
they
sure
said
there
he was
was a
at the
way.
bowling alley with children present talking about his name on the bowling thing was 69 God. Please don't do that, sir. Don't do that. That's not how you do that. You need to not say anything and just come out with a bop that's bopping in Drake bop.
And
Like you
that
can't come back to being a thug with 21 Savage. You can't do that no more because people are gonna laugh at you. But you can still make music.
let me say,
Make you
if
a
he
good
was
Kiki, do you
like,
love me? Set the summer off.
what was actually, you know what? Hold on. I need to find, okay, so remember the show, ladies, help me out here. You all watch the show Brandy?
What
No?
show?
Okay. Um, the,
Brandy.
the the TV show Brandy when she was an actress, Brandy
Moesha?
Norwood. Moesha, thank you. I okay, stay with me. I was like, it was tip of the tongue. I couldn't think. Okay, on Moesha, what was the boyfriend's name?
Omar? No.
Omar. That actor.
Sticky Fingers. Fredro Starr.
Thank you. There we go. Okay. Now, Drake was in Degrassi.
Yes.
Fredo Starr was in Moesha. Do you see the stark difference in the characters y'all played?
Star.
You
Yeah.
cannot convince me, Drake, that you was hard, that you's a thug like that. Meanwhile, I would probably not say the wrong thing to Fredo Starr, just in case,
Yeah.
because I've
But the
heard him
thing
rap.
is I don't understand because you don't have to be a thug.
You don't.
He never had to do that. You don't have
No,
to do that. Like,
I
and that
thought he
that
was.
wasn't even his music. His music is
yeah,
about
it was
the
with
catchy, yeah, the
R&B
catchy,
tinged,
yeah, yeah. Like
happy,
you
like,
said, it's all you find yourself bopping to it, even if you don't really want. It's like a Taylor Swift song. I'm not a Swiftie, but when I used to
I,
listen to
look,
the radio, they would play it so much.
Yeah.
Sure, I knew the words to all the songs, but I'm not gonna
yeah,
buy a
One
picnic
point when I
dress
was
and go
working
to an Air
retail, you got
store.
to hear what the
right.
music is playing. And if the
Right,
music decides that that's today's jam, then guess what you hearing on repeat?
right. Because even I will bop to a little. Well, I used to when I listened to music. Drake
Mm.
made some catchy stuff, and so I would be okay with it until his voice started to get on my nerves.
Yeah, dead. Big did. Like, again, I don't know if it was just over saturation. I am not of the generation of I need you to drop every 5 minutes or I'm gonna forget about you. My artists took years between projects sometimes, and I
Exactly.
appreciated it for it. Like I know that you're doing something creative. You're gonna come back with a whole new look or sound or something. I don't mind, but this fast consumption art or
Yeah.
whatever the medium, it just is, it's a bit much sometimes. It's like I love that song
Drake need to
million
go
dollar
back to
baby, and
being.
guess what, I hate it now. Like I loved it the first time. This is a bop. The second time, okay, and then I've seen the video. I said, oh, all right, you better go ahead, sir, because you did this. And then I hated that song so from the fiery pits of hell.
But the only music I know right now are songs that are viral on TikTok. The ones that
Hmm.
everybody uses in their TikToks. Those are the only ones I know because I don't listen to the radio. I listen to my audiobooks,
Yeah.
and I don't, the music streaming serve. I don't even stream music anymore. If I
Right.
turn on my Bluetooth speaker, it is so I can play an audiobook loud enough in my house to where I can hear it in any room. So
No,
I know nothing of music unless everybody has it in their TikTok video.
Right.
I will say that there's a cross between the two. If I hear a song that like if I'm scrolling through social media and I hear a song, I'm quick to like click on it to find out what the name of that song is and pull it up and play it in and add it to my Spotify and have it that way. Um, I am notorious. Like Spotify has now introduced this new thing. I don't know how long they've been doing it, but it wasn't always a thing. So I like it. I have my created playlist. The play like these are the songs that I picked for this playlist. And Spotify will now add music to my playlist
Sounds like. Yeah.
that falls in the same category or another song by that artist that's of a similar nature and things like that. And I get a lot of um, I do get some of the newer stuff mixed in. I think sometimes because they are just like, this is a popular song and this other song you liked was a popular song. We're going to play this because this, you would, nothing about me says I would want to hear this song, but because it's popular, you think that okay, but I know how to thumbs down and skip and take off playlists, that
Yeah.
type of, and I will curate my playlist accurately. But it's like I have maybe actually I know for a fact I have two songs that feature Drake. They're not Drake songs. Um,
Mm.
one was Tuesday, like it's going up on a Tuesday. Like that was when that song came out. That was kind of okay. I kind of like it, yeah, because I want to be wealthy enough to just do random fun things on a Tuesday.
On Tuesday. Facts.
Okay, that took me all the way back to what was that show used to come on HBO? Jeremy Piven,
Entourage.
Entourage. We're going to Vegas on a Wednesday. Like that's I got those vibes. So I was like, okay, I could dig that. And so it's like I've heard the new it's something like Midnight or something. I don't even know the name of the song, but when I hear it, I like it. And you know what? $1 Million Baby, I think is the name of it. Um, and I really like that one. That's a new one. And I found out that that person has like two songs that I like.
Hmm.
And I didn't even know that both songs were his. And it took me a while to realize that Jack Harlow has more than one song because I only heard one song from him.
Well,
And that
he's
was
got a
because,
new song with Eminem called Killers, the remix called Killers. Just saying.
and
Just saying.
and so it's like I can appreciate where we are getting some new music out and about and how this can push this genre forward, how it just pushes music as a whole. Everybody started coming this way, going that way. I'm waiting on Cole to drop, more new stuff because I was definitely a Cole fan. Middle Child is as a middle child, that was always one of my favorite songs, um, and just a
Got
lot
a
of what he
Cole
talks about.
playlist. Like J. Cole goes crazy. And he's been an amazing lyricist. I like his beat selections. He can rap on anything. Like if there's a feature and they're like featuring J. Cole, I'ma listen. I listen to a damn Bia song because J. Cole did a feature on that song.
Yeah,
Like yeah, I really really like him, and I really I respect anybody that's like, you know what, this ain't even my beef. I know people was like, he's soft, he's this, but this ain't my fight, and I'm not. My heart's not in it. I'm not finna be talking about people kids and all of this, and I don't. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't feel that
no,
way. I'm not. I said J Cole somewhere riding his bike. He's cool. He.
I mean, and the funny thing is, again, that goes back to what J. Cole has presented himself to be.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's where we talk about that authenticity. like I said, every single album I've ever heard Kendrick talk about, Kendrick has always talked about being the best.
Absolutely.
He, even if he's not the best in his mind, he is, and he is working towards that goal.
I feel like isn't that what you like? I guess I'm
Oh,
like,
and I agree,
aren't you
absolutely.
supposed to be that? Like if I'm a rapper, I'm the best rapper. I'm
That's
not
why I
coming out
wasn't
being like
mad
I'm
at.
third.
That's why I wasn't mad with Drake for doing what he did. I'm not a
Right.
fan of Drake, but I like you should believe that you the best. You should
Absolutely.
definitely walk around with your chest puffed out, and you
Hmm.
got to have that confidence, not ego,
Right.
but you got to have that confidence that you are that good.
Right.
Especially
Like Jay Z, Nas, like I never none of them ever was like I'm number two.
the
Right?
only, I'm gonna tell you the only time I heard a rapper, I'm air quoting, admit that he was not number one was one time when Eminem did his top five. He put himself at
Redman.
five. He put himself at five. And the thing about it was, when you really think about that, if you was to ask anybody else they top five, 9 times out of 10, they gonna give you their top five, and they're gonna list 5 people.
Right.
Eminem made his own top five.
I have
There
that
was some
T-shirt.
subtext in it then that was kind of like, yo, this did Bruh just put himself on his own top five?
Yeah.
Like,
But
yo,
I
that's
respect it though because
right.
he also was like, but also these are legends, and I'm a
Right.
legend. But
Right.
I'm up here
But
with
not
them.
above them.
And,
Right.
that,
Right.
and that's why nobody had a problem with it. And it
Right.
was one of those things where it was like, there it is, Reggie, Jay Z,
Yeah.
Tupac, Biggie.
I have that
Like,
T-shirt because
yes,
I'm a Redman stan,
and
and I was
so
like, yeah, it's about time. People sleep on
and
Redman,
it was
and
just
it
one
ain't
of those
right.
things where it's like, yeah, I expect everybody who does something, in your mind at least, you have to think you are the best at that thing.
Yeah.
Even if you don't come out and say it, even if you don't believe it up here, you will never be that. So
Yeah.
it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy one way or the other.
And I feel
And
like Kendrick was kind of working against, he had some things working against him. So he had to kind of come out and tell y'all that he was the best because
yeah,
Kendrick really, I mean, if you come on now, he's a small guy
he wouldn't
and
have
he
got the
has an
exposure if
odd
he wasn't
voice.
making those claims early.
Yeah.
He has an odd voice that could be annoying
Yeah.
if he's not saying the right thing. And the thing is with Kendrick, he knows the right thing to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he came out with that confidence and he's telling you he's the best. And I'm like, okay, I can't really dispute that. Whereas a Drake, no. He also has what could be an annoying voice,
Oh no, it's
but
absolutely, that was my
It
thing
is.
with him.
I
I
think
just don't
his
like his
often
delivery.
goes to the annoying place because he's not saying anything that's really worth you wanting to continue to listen to that annoying voice,
See
in
what you're
my
saying.
opinion. Say he's not saying anything important enough. Sure, he's saying stuff that's catchy, but if you sit there and you listen to it for long enough, I'm going to be like, oh my God, turn that off
That's how I feel
because
about
his voice
Future.
is so annoying.
I get it. Like if you're not talking about nothing now, you're just droning, and now it's just buzzing in my ear, and it's
Right.
irritating.
Yeah, yeah.
It,
You know what? There was a whole culture shift for a little while where there was rap became about, like, it's always been very braggadocious. You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? It's always been like, go all the way back and, you know, riding around in my 6'4". You know what I'm saying? Like, it's always talked about what I have that you don't.
Mhm.
Oh, it gave us something to aspire to. And you could tell that someone was successful in doing this thing because they had acquired a lot of fame and a lot of wealth from it. It became very interesting to me when so many, like, how your first song is about all this money you got. I
Right.
need your
I
first
got a
song.
cousin who's a rapper, and he was playing a song for me, and he was like, "Yeah, something something 10,000 in my dresser," and I'm looking around in his mom's basement like,
Bro,
man, rap
That
about what you know, rap your
that's
life. And he
no
was like, "Don't nobody want to hear that. Don't nobody want to hear that." I'm like, "But they do though.
load
They
up
they
the
want
Kevin
the
Hart.
authentic.
Do you
I
know
would
I
rather
can
have an
see you?
authentic
Like,
audience."
but that's
I
the
don't know.
thing.
Like people was like Andre 3000. Well, Andre 3000 was walking around in pants and wigs, and I was like, yeah, but also in the back of your mind, you never forgot this dude is a dude from Atlanta, and he would beat your ass. Like
From
there's
Decatur.
no
Like,
doubt in my mind that Andre 3000 would put that flute down and put a foot in somebody's
no,
behind if need
he
be.
will beat your
oh
ass with
yeah.
the flute. Do not mistake. He will hit you with the flute.
He
I
is
believe
from
it. I
right, right.
wholeheartedly believe it.
I
He's
just
done.
Unless,
there's
he doesn't want to hurt his flute though. I think I'm with Brandy. He will put the flute down and kick your ass.
Actually, and you know the funny part? I truly believe, like, just so, and this is not one of those things I typically do. Like, I've been blessed in my lifetime to have met a lot of individuals, and just in the different connections that I've had over the years, I've come across a lot of different people. And um, a relative of mine used to live in a house in Atlanta with members of the Dungeon family. Won't
okay,
expose anybody's situations or what
right,
who lived what together, whatnot. But I've had an opportunity to meet Andre and Big Boy and Gip and CeeLo.
nice.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And when I tell you they is just like your cousins, like such regular people, and it's so dope. So dope.
I
Um
saw Andre at Starbucks.
I
Oh,
absolutely
Saint,
regular people.
today I would faint. I would be on the ground just screaming. Are you serious?
Let me tell you
Oh,
what I think would actually happen. If you were to find yourself in a situation where you may be in an altercation with Andre, I actually don't think Andre would swing on you. I think he would have a conversation with you and would like talk you down, and Big Boy would come out of nowhere and jaw you. That's what would actually happen. And once you're down, the entire Dungeon family will probably stomp you out. That's how I think that goes. And this is, nothing negative. It'll be your fault for having gotten in the altercation. Understand that. Um, but that's actually how I think that would go. But no, like Andre he's the dude really is like that mellow and that chill. But for anybody that, you know, if you get stuck on the concert attire and the flute, and you think I need you to go back to like AT Aliens, Wheels of Steel,
that's
Southern
what I'm
Plate.
saying. It's
That's
like
the
people walking up on Keith Lee now. Like you seen people, I seen videos of people like really walking up on Keith Lee trying to harass that man. I'm like, y'all don't understand. This man does these food reviews in the monotone because he got tired of fighting.
Right,
Please leave that
right.
man alone, for he hurt one of y'all. Like
He
I
is
get that he's
a
cool
real
and collected
fighter.
and all of this,
yeah.
but please don't play with that man.
You go back to Southern Plate Listen, that is not
That's my point.
they're not
There
the
was an
people.
authenticity there. So when he was like, "I'm gonna put on knit pants," we was like, "I mean, if that's where you at in your journey, like,
Right, right.
Some people say Erica has something to do with the change. It maybe not. I don't know. The timeline matches up. Just saying. It
she
was
could
it
have."
was
But the thing is that I respect, and I know people off Erica and all that, but y'all can never make me hate her. I don't care.
no.
Um, but I think the thing with Erica is that Erica just opens their minds. I think she literally takes people like Kendrick hung out with Erica. He went back to Whitney. He was out cheating and doing all this other stuff. He had a conversation with Erica that he says literally changed his life. He went home, got into counseling, got back with Whitney. That's when they got engaged, and he put out Mr. Morale, which is his most introspective,
Yeah.
like, I'm exploring my inner soul and becoming a better man. That's what people don't understand.
He couldn't type fast enough.
I mean, but for real,
No,
I feel like
I
whatever it is that she's got going on conversationally, I think she puts something in people that makes them examine themselves and they come out the other side.
you know what? This may be, and this is one of the times. Let me just shoot a message real quick because I would love to get his input on this. But I definitely believe that there are people who are more in tune with this world and the natural existence and being and things like that. And a lot of the uh, neo soul music, it has its own lyrical content, but there's also like some frequency and vibe to it. And just, I always feel in a better mood when I play Erica Badu, period. It just puts me in a better mood. Same thing when I play some Jill Scott or some NDR. You know what I'm saying? Like I have a whole cultivated playlist of like this natural neo soul. There's some instrumental stuff on there, and it's and I absolutely believe that someone like an Erica Badu is not going to pull punches and not going to bullshit you, and not going to you know woo woo woo. It'll be okay, but be like you fucked up, and this is how you need to fix that because this is wrong, and this is what you should do. And you is obviously very comfortable with who she is, and for all accounts, this woman could probably just make a living as a doula. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
the music is a blessing. It's not like she has to do that. Like if Erica Badu said she was selling crystals, she would make.
There's just people who walk different. Like, even as much as people talk all that mess about Lauren, when Lauren showed up at the BET Awards, she was spellbinding.
Yeah,
She was wearing 18 blankets, and we still was like, oh my God, this
yeah,
woman. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't know she was going to show up. They didn't tell us because you know how she is. But she came through. And when she does, it's like just to be in her presence, I feel like would be calming. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah.
and that may not be true. I don't know these people. I don't pretend to have a parasocial relationship with them. You never know. But I have friends who worked with her. They were in the Hot Eight brass band, and they were her backing band for a tour she did in Europe.
Hmm.
And they were like, "Yeah, no, she's like that. Like, we don't play the same set twice."
Yeah,
Because she'll come in and be like, today, no, we're rearranging. This is on here. We're going to do this arrangement of that song. Like, she was very like, and they were like, I could see why people would be like, she's a diva, she's difficult, but it's like she's an artist. And
she's sensitive about her shit.
Sensitive about her.
I feel like D'Angelo, any man that's like, I'm too sexy, y'all not paying attention to the music. Let me put this weight back on.
There you
You
go.
know what I mean? Like, you telling me to take my shirt off, but I'm up here singing my heart out. Like, this is about my craft. Oh no,
And it's
this
like
is that
it
gotta
makes me
go.
wonder about like a music soul child why he didn't do better.
I don't know.
Because I
He
vibe with everything he put out.
I like him, but also I don't know.
See,
I'm
it's
on the fence with him. Like, I like his music, but I don't
so
necessarily seek it out.
I don't really seek it out, but there's one song, and I can't remember the name of it. I don't seek him out, but like when I'm on Spotify, or I don't even know if
Yeah,
anybody listens to Pandora anymore, but I have
sometimes yeah, I do.
that station going, and when this
Yeah,
one song comes up, I'm like, music soul child,
love. My song is
love
half
that,
crazy. I
and
was
I
about to
will,
say my song is half
yeah,
crazy, but I thought it would be love because he
oh,
sung that song.
that's it, and that's
And I
the
love that
only
first album.
one.
Oh, when I tell you I played that first Music Soul Child, because Music Soul Child, Eric and Mama Erica Badu's Mama's Gun, and the first Jill Scott came out right around the same time. And when I tell you that was a mellow ass summer,
Yes.
I listen. I had that thing of those three in my CD changer, and I played all
I
three of
think that
them
was the
till the
summer
wheels
I
fell
had
off.
cornrows. Let me tell you something. Like, I remember that was
I
because that
cannot even
honestly, I think that was like
imagine.
2000, 2001. And
Yeah, it
I
was.
I very clearly remember I was working at at the time it was I was working for Bell South. I was working in the call center then. I could
Yeah.
probably find the pictures. I had grown my fro out. I was in my neo soul era right there, baby. You could not tell me nothing. And that's what I was saying. Like even to this day, when I need that vibe, when I need to feel differently, that's when the neo
Mm.
soul playlist is on and it hits like it does. And it was something I think it's something about like Neil Music Soul Child is like my age.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And he's right there. He's like 46, 47, something like right there in that area. And between Just Listen and I Just Want to Sing, those two albums,
Yeah,
Half
those two.
Crazy, Love, Don't Change,
Yeah.
um, and
Sunny, that girl next door.
oh yes, 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 yes.
That
It's
first album was everything to me.
yeah. And so it's like,
That's
and
how I
there's
feel
and
about
there's
Alicia. Like her first two albums, don't play with me. I'll fight
yeah.
you over them first two
Oh yeah,
albums.
most definitely.
Probably the first one with Alicia with me. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and even they've all had those timeless moments and those songs that are gonna go on forever.
Yeah.
And to this day, like I think if anytime I hear about somebody breaking up, two songs come to mind. Tyrone and To the Left. Like them those in my head are like the universal breakup songs. And it's like the music is timeless. The feeling I think is where a lot of that comes from. And like you said, it comes from these people who just walk a different path on this earth. And it's like it's something about artists in general. Because whether it be music, uh, if you're a painter, if you're a designer, whether it be clothing, the ability to see the world in a different way
Yeah.
is
And capture that.
fascinating. It is
Yes.
fascinating. And it is even more fascinating to be able to take what you
Hmm.
see and create it.
Hmm.
And that's what in a sense, that's what I'm envious of,
Yeah.
is being able to take what vision you have and manifest it into a reality.
Right.
Whether it be you can draw really good, you can paint, even if it's abstract art, you saw that in your head and you
Absolutely.
made your arm do it. It's always impressive in
I
any
always
form of art.
think about the people who Donnell had a good breakup song, but he was kind of trite. I loved that album, but that whole album was kind of trifling. Once you got past like the smooth grooves, it's like John Legend's first album. But
Yeah,
he had a couple good songs on there, like that a couple good breakup songs. You know that I love you, but I mean, I'm a cheat. But you my number one though, like sir. How did you put that on a smooth groove beat?
That's why you have to be like me and not listen to the words. Just groove
yeah.
with
Where I
the
want to be
song and
is
even
one.
sing along, but don't really pay attention to what they're saying because it would be a rude
Yeah,
awakening.
it literally makes sense if you don't think about it.
Exactly.
You start paying attention and asking questions, it's a problem. Don't do that. But yeah, yeah. Where I want to be is like that just wouldn't fly today. I just honestly that just wouldn't fly today because it's like
It's so trifling.
yeah
Like this man really made a sweet love ballad telling his girlfriend, I'm a cheat. Okay, we've been together, and yes, I should be committing to you, but also these hoes.
but
So you wait here.
But also I'm for the streets.
He was literally saying like, okay, so I'm gonna do this. It don't mean nothing. I just need to be sure it don't
Right.
mean. Right?
Right.
I'll be back. I'll be back. I just need to be sure. And once I'm certain, then we
Mm-mm.
can move. Who was the
No.
one that had the song where he was basically telling the chick to leave her husband and kid so they could run off together? Is that
Carl,
Carl
Carl,
Thomas?
Carl Thomas.
That was yeah.
I wish I
Yeah.
never met
That's
her. That was my album too. And he was
yeah.
just
Yeah.
here like 2 or 3 years ago. And let me tell you who had a ball at Carl Thomas. Like that emotional album
Yeah.
was that
And
was a
that's
heavy rotation.
it's just something about that era. That early 2000s R&B. I say from
Yeah.
like 2000 to like
10. It doesn't have any soul now. I mean, I get that all the girlies are out and all of this other stuff, but I can't tell the difference. I People
Right.
be singing and I'll be like, "Who is the Summer Walker?" No,
is it
certain
her?
people have
Summer
distinctive
Walker,
voices
the
to
other
me. Like
one,
I really like
Victoria
Ari
Monet.
Lennox,
Oh,
but
Ari.
like there's just so many people. They all sound the same. All the dudes sound the same. They all talk about the same things. They sing in the same cadences. They have the same auto tune. I'm just like, now there are artists out here, but they're not mainstream.
Yeah.
When you get into like Snow Allegra and Ari Lennox and her and you know what I'm saying? There are definitely female artists out. They're just not what you gonna hear on the radio. You're not gonna see most of the people talking about them.
For me,
It's just
you
sad
know,
because
I'll throw one more out there. Um, it's good to see Marsha Ambrosius still making music because Flowetry, that was a Floetic. That was another one of those albums that kind of floated right in there at that time. And it was during that, would it be like the neo soul explosion? Like there was a lot of
yeah, I
early
like
2000s.
Marsha Ambrosius. I like Marsha Ambrosius in Flowetry.
And I wanted to specify, I'm glad she's still doing some stuff, but Flowetry.
But sometimes Marsha Ambrosius can do she can be a lot.
Oh, I
Like
believe
sometimes I'd be like, girl, all right now. I like your voice. I love, but like I was listening to Butterflies the other day, the Michael Jackson version, and
it.
you know,
Mhm.
she wrote that. And she does like the backing vocals behind him on that song. And I like the Floetry version of that song, but there's the way she floats above the notes at the end of Butterflies. I was like, Marsha, can't nobody do that. Like her singing Cry Me a River, Justin Timberlake. Once somebody was like, that was Marsha Ambrosius, I was like, of course that was Marsha Ambrosius.
It's like, they hear they like, yeah, that
Like
makes sense. That makes sense.
I'm upset that I didn't put two and two. Like nobody floats over the beat like Marsha Ambrosius, but a full album is something. It's
Yeah,
something. And I'm sure it's good. I've heard nothing but good things. And I love her and I think she's lovely and mad talented, but
again, Floetic. That album, I can rock with that. I really don't know. This is such a horrible thing. I don't know. I'm familiar with Chloe Bailey's Instagram. I'm not familiar with Chloe Bailey's music. And
I
outside of
like her, but I wish people would let her be who she is and not who they want her to be. They want her to be Hallie, and she is
mm,
not Hallie. She is Chloe. And I think Hallie wouldn't necessarily be Hallie if Hallie wasn't a Disney princess. You feel me? Like I feel like we don't allow our artists to kind of go through like people are like, oh, she's so sexy, she's faking, she's this, that, and the third. And I'm like, or hear me out. maybe she's just a girl exploring her sexuality, and they kind of go through that when, especially when you've been an innocent child star. Look at Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, like, but from
Hell,
our
let's go to
artists,
even a
we
Miley
don't do that.
Cyrus. You got to do
Right.
something to
But we
separate
don't
yourself
allow
from
our
that.
art. Brandy could never have to go. She had to lie about being married because she got pregnant. Like as a we on our end, we don't get to do that. Monica had to cover her tattoos. She was grown. Like,
Yeah.
you know, you don't get to this is who you are, you're gonna be that, and the church mothers will make sure that that's where you stay. And I feel like if they would just let this girl be like, sure, she's singing that Lord have mercy. That I like that song. I thought it was catchy. People was like, that's not who she really is. We don't know these people. We
That's
do
not
not
who she
know these
really is based
people.
on what? Based on what?
Sister hid her pregnancy till she was like 8 months and couldn't hide it no more. Like, we do not know these people. Like,
Right. How
we
do
don't know
you
what they
know
do.
who she
Obviously,
is?
I'm like, obviously, Hallie is,
Uh,
doing the do because she got physical proof of
Okay.
that. Like, they're
Let's
not
let little baby Dave start with a J. I don't think like
right.
clearly she
I
has
just
some
am
help.
like, let people be. There's no nowadays. If you come out with something different, they call you fake.
Right.
I say that this is why Chris Brown keeps putting out the same album over and over again, because the minute you try to do something different,
Yeah.
people lose their minds anymore. And I'm like, I'm used to Prince and Janet and Michael and Usher and
Hell, every time a
you
Prince
know,
album came out, it was like a roll of the wheel. It was like playing roulette. You never know
right.
right.
what
You
kind of album. Is this going to be a sex album, a rock album, a
who is he
gospel
on this
album?
album? And he
Right.
always
Is it going to be
gave
a
me something
single
new
album?
and incredible that I didn't even know he had in him,
Because
you know?
no matter what it was mind blowing.
Right. Even Madonna, like every time Madonna came out, you didn't know who was going to show up. But you knew whatever it was going to be her whole heart and soul in that. And I appreciate that. And people don't do that anymore.
Right. Because
I
Prince, everybody talks about Purple Rain and all of those kind of real popular albums. My favorite Prince album was Seven. I used to throw that
I did love that album.
CD in the
Facts.
player on repeat. I love
that one had
that album.
Morning Papers. That album
I was just
had
telling somebody that they were saying something about Prince and they were like, "Cause Purple Rain." And I'm like, but what about Diamonds and Pearls Prince?
Right.
Blue Light.
Power Generation Prince was everything to me. Like there, like the musicology Prince, I was
Ooh,
infatuated with.
ooh.
Like that album, that album got rotated. Like
See,
I like
I
my
was very
artists.
happy. The Gold Experience was without a doubt one of my favorite, and then the compilation greatest hits and B sides.
Mm,
Those were that was an entire Prince collection right there. That was probably 30 years of Prince. And those
yeah,
two, well, this was a 3-disc set. The Gold Experience was
yeah.
3 discs. And then Greatest Hits was a 2-disc. The B-sides, I mean, you had 6 CDs worth of music right there.
Right.
You
And
definitely
that was just of stuff that he was done with.
right. But it's like that was a combination of all of the good. And when you hear it is always impressive to hear a song that an artist wrote that did really, really well by the person who sang it. But then to hear that same song done even better by the person who wrote it, he might be the only person that could do that. Because I don't think everybody who writes should sing, but I don't think everybody should be singing his music. Because when he does it,
No.
something totally different.
I was really mad at Genuine for When the Doves Cry. I was mad at him for that. Like I was like, we might have to throw hands
I feel
over.
like if Prince wasn't going to give you the okay to do his song, you shouldn't be doing his song. And I don't feel like he would have approved Genuine doing his song.
I
I
just
think
I
he
didn't even know that happened. So I
it
think I
was
was
on
better
I,
off with
it was
not
on like
knowing.
his second album, maybe second album. It was, I don't think it was a single.
well, that was one of those. And notice the songs that they do are the songs that he technically didn't own the
Didn't
master.
own facts.
Those are the one. That's why they could do those. He put those
And
out.
it was a unholy mess. Like
Yeah.
just leave stuff alone. Just leave it alone. It don't need update. They don't need the Timberland beat. Just let it
No,
go.
it was good the way it
Let
was.
it
Leave
certain
it. Let it
things
be. It was good the
let
way it
things
was.
lie.
Let it
Like I
be.
don't want nobody remaking Thriller. Listen, leave stuff alone. Now, Alien Ant Farm performed the shit out of uh
Dirty,
Smooth
dirt.
Criminal.
No, Annie, are you okay? Smooth
That's
criminal.
Smooth Criminal.
I had. I knew.
They
I knew it. I knew
performed
what you were talking about.
when
Yes,
I was like, oh, listen, right. That's how you do a cover. But
but it was also like I don't know. It don't. It like whoever remastered that song for that version. Again, that's that artistic shit I was talking about. To be able to
yeah,
hear that song and then hear it in your head that way, because
right.
it
And
fit
make it a rock song. And it
perfectly.
totally worked as a rock song
It fit
while also
perfectly.
being an homage to Michael. Like it was just that was a beautiful
That
but
guitar riff at
Prince
the beginning,
Prince could take a song that's my one of my favorite songs and make it a better version of that song. I'm a Foo Fighters
right?
fan. I love the Foo Fighters.
Right.
One of my favorite Foo Fighters song is "The Best of You." That is one of my all-time. I love that song. You're liable to catch me listening to that at any time. Prince's performance of "The Best of You" at the Super Bowl. I was like, please release that. I need you to release that as a single. Like, even Dave Grohl was like, listen, because people was like, oh my gosh. And he was like, let me tell you something. Prince sang my song, and made it better.
Yeah.
I just, you know what I mean? Like,
That's Prince.
I mean,
that man, that's
I
a
don't think he.
bad man. And I keep trying to tell people, like, I'm like, y'all do not understand this man and the depths of his talent and the depths of, like, it kills me when people are like, I'm like, no, Prince was a guitarist. That guitar was not for show. He could do things on that guitar that people still don't know how to do today. Please don't play with this man. That's why I have respect for Bruno Mars. I went to a Bruno Mars concert and that
Yeah.
little dude got on every single instrument. Like he went around the stage, he did the
Yeah.
Yeah.
drums, he was on the guitar, he was on the keyboard. I was like, hold on,
He is very, very talented.
Yeah.
I
Very
didn't know.
talented.
I didn't know. I knew he played the piano, but I did not know that he was and he was dancing. And I was like, hold up.
Right. Even with just playing the piano, singing and dancing, that's a
That's
bad
Yeah,
man.
that's yeah.
that's a bad
That's a lot
man.
right there because it's
Mhm.
a lot of people can't do them three.
Right.
Right.
Some people can't do two of them. Hell, I can't do none of them. So that's a bad man. I give him all the credit. Give him all the credit because, and that's the funny thing about it. Like with some of these artists out there, there's like there's a singer that everybody has for them that's like because they're successful, you feel like you could be successful.
Spice.
You,
I can be a rapper.
you see what I'm saying? I'm gonna tell you, this
Sexy
is kind of
red. I
funny.
can be a rapper.
John Legend really had me thinking I could sing.
Wait a minute.
When Ordinary People dropped,
Stop.
I could
Just
sing
stop
the
right
hell out of
there.
that song.
I loved that John Legend. He can
Mm.
sing, so don't
And I'm
She said, "Don't do John."
let's
let me
not
tell you though,
disparage John's name.
His
and
first two albums. Don't
now
talk
I'm
to
not
me
even
about it.
saying all of
Neo's
his
first two
music.
albums.
I'm not saying him as an artist. It was just something about Ordinary People because he sang it so mellow and so cool. And it was
Yeah.
right in that middle range. That's the only spot I can be. I can't go high. I can't get too low. But Ordinary People had me thinking I had a shot. Like I could get out there, I could do this thing. And then right there
Yeah.
at the end, when he was straining, I was straining, it worked. It was like the vein in my neck popped out just right. I could hold that note. He didn't go too high. And see, I'm not the only person. I'm not the only person. That is the
I
only
remember when that
song I
song
can
came
sing
out,
like
I
that.
was like, I don't care who this person is. I'm getting this album. Like that's back
Right.
when we used to have to go to Blockbuster and buy,
Yeah.
and buy that CD. Yeah, I
Right.
Big,
ran to Blockbuster and bought that
big
CD.
plastic tray with the little clip at the bottom to slide it out.
Because Used to
And that
Love You was that first single off that album, and I wasn't really feeling that song. It was all right, but it didn't catch my ear.
that
But Ordinary
whole
People,
that I had that whole CD. It was on repeat. I had it on repeat because I
man,
remember we were living in McDonough, so I was driving my ass off. I was always driving
Mm.
to get to or from McDonough, and I had that CD in, and it was on repeat. I knew every word to every song, and there
yeah.
was one song that I'm telling you, I don't listen to the words to songs. I don't want to know what they're saying. I'll sing along, but I
Right.
don't want to understand them. But there's one song on that CD would have me in tears. I would be driving because I was always driving because I lived in McDonough with tears streaming down my face because of that song. He has a beautiful and a pure voice, and yes, he strained a little bit, but he was on the note when he was straining. He was
No,
straining
and
in key.
again, notice I didn't say not a single other song this man has ever sung. But when I heard Ordinary People, I like that song so much. That is such a fantastic song, first and foremost. And song got just put on repeat. And you know how when you be in the car and you be
Mhm.
like, you can sing in the car, right? Everybody's a,
Oh
everybody's
yeah.
a performer in the
I'm
shower.
Whitney Houston in the car
And let me tell you,
now.
like when you're in the shower, you get down, you do your thing. But when you in the car, we having a whole concert. And that song came on, and I would hear that so often. And it was like I started singing the song. And then I realized that, like, wait, I can actually sing this song. And I kept singing that, and I got good at singing that song. Can't sing that damn other song. I tried the whole album, Songs About Jay, Maroon 5. I knew every lyric to every song on that entire album.
Love that album.
That was like, it's not a lot of albums that I feel like are perfect albums. That was a perfect album.
It really was. And people crap on Adam Levine now, and I get it that he's a meme, but let me tell you something. The first time I heard Sunday Morning, I was like, who is this man?
This love made me want to be a better singer. Like I wanted to be able to sing just to be able to sing that song.
Facts. That's how I felt the first time I heard Amy Winehouse.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was like, whoever this girl is, she makes me want to be a better like a singer. Like
yeah.
she puts that in me that I'm
There's
like,
so
oh
much
shoot.
soul and power in her voice.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
like
Hmm.
I just that
Amy
was one of
was
those moments, like you
something
said,
different.
Amy was like, whew,
Amy was something different. She was
transported.
the reincarnation of somebody come back to get their money. I don't care what nobody say.
Mm. Let me tell you,
She was
that
soulful. She was a
transported me
writer.
somewhere just
She
then.
was an arranger. Questlove said Amy Winehouse knew more about music than he did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they would have long conversations, and like she was in it. She was it.
Mm, yeah, no. Let me tell you something.
Bless her heart,
I
her family.
love
Mm.
Run the Jewels, and that new Killer Mike has been on
Mhm.
repeat. Yes, it
I've seen
has.
Run the Jewels in concert.
Oh, I'm
I,
jealous.
I like Killer Mike. I
I,
do. Not as much as I like Big Crit though. I'm gonna be real honest. I feel like
okay.
people sleep on Big Crit, and I really, really like him.
I don't think in the South, I don't think down here they do as much.
Nah, y'all in Atlanta, Killer Mike all day.
And it's like, and maybe,
Crit is from the SIP, so I don't expect that from y'all.
Before we stray too far from John Legend, let me just throw out there the song that used to
oh,
bring me to tears was "Stay with You."
Oh yeah,
ooh,
that's a good song. I need to
yeah,
dig that album. Like I said, that song, that album, and the second album. That second with Save Room for My Love. That second album was a vibe. I was like, John is in his bag. It was such a smooth album.
That was what, Make Room for the Love?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Or Save Room. I think it's Save Room. I was like, yes, listen. I used to work at a nursing home and I took care of this man and he used to be a musician and his family was like, we brought in his favorite CDs if you guys want to play or whatever. And so whenever I would work, I would just go in his room and flip out his CDs and he had like John Legend and Kim and like those kind of jazzy art. When I tell you we was vibing, me and him, I would be doing his little bass and stuff. We'd be in that room vibing out to some Kim, some John Legend. I was like, you got good taste. I like coming in here. Hey, he loved Big Crit too. I'm telling you, Crit is slept on, man. He's a good
Yeah.
artist. He's
Save
so
Room. Save
good.
Room was okay. I had to pull it out of the room. I was like, is that the one I think it is? Yeah. Yeah. That
That
was it.
second
No,
album that had green light on it. That album was a vibe.
it was. And I mean, I take nothing away from John Legend. The man is hella talented. Fantastic voice. I love he had like the last time, and this is just to show you the big gap in songs that I was comfortable with. Keith Washington was the last time there was a song I felt like I could sing
Not Keith Washington. Damn,
all
Keith
the way
Washington
back.
ain't thought about Keith Washington in years.
All the way back. But it just had one of those sounds and it was one of those vibes. And of course, you have a moment that you feel something about somebody, and then a song comes out that encapsulates exactly what it is, and you latch onto that song. And although there's been a lot of like various, music that we like and hip hop and R&B and a lot of good R&B. My wife, she's definitely old school R&B right now. And you let any old school R&B playlist come on, and like that's her station now, no question. And yeah, there. I was reading the lyrics here on the screen, and so, but yeah, it was. And I'm trying to remember. The funny part is I can't even remember what this Keith Washington song was.
The first song that I always think about with Keith Washington is "Candlelight and You" with Shantae Moore. That's my
No,
favorite Keith Washington song.
It's probably like the next most popular, but it's just him. It's just him on vocals. Um, it might be "Kissing You." I have to hear the song to be for sure.
I couldn't tell you. I'm gonna be straight up.
Yeah, I mean, look, we went all
I
the way
got
back to the
nothing in my brain
'90s.
with Keith Washington.
We in the '90s with the music, so it's been a minute. It's been a minute, but let's see. But I feel like "Kissing You"
And time
was.
sucks. I just saw a video of Freddie Jackson, and it was sad. Like I'm like somebody like not even being funny, but like somebody come get this man off the stage. Like
Yeah.
just
Well, it's funny because
because it's heartbreaking to watch. Like
you talked
when
about
Frankie
Genuine
Beverly first
earlier.
started going downhill, and it's like I don't
Yeah,
necessarily want to watch you go downhill, bro. Like Whitney.
yeah,
Although I did like that last album, people slept on it. $1 Million Bill was a bop, but her voice, the voice. Like I can listen to Whitney Houston and I can tell, even if I never heard the song, I can tell you exactly where she was in her career. That's how much Whitney Houston I listen to. Like
yeah.
I'm like, whoop, that was after she had Bobby Christina. You can
Right. The low notes wasn't going as long. She could still hit the highs, but the lows had to cut out a little sooner.
Listen, Freddie Jackson, I was young, but my aunties and Freddie Jackson, I definitely had some Freddie Jackson songs. Was singing with my whole chest since I was 7 years old. Talking about some Rock Me Tonight. I didn't even know what we was doing, but I wanted it for old time's sake.
Yeah, so it was definitely on the album Keith. Sorry, I'm looking up real quick to make sure. Like I said, I think it was "Kissing You." I believe I'm looking at the cover of this album. My man got like the Billy D, the comb back, slicked hair. Got on the suit with like
He
he was
was the
fresh.
man though. He was handsome.
Oh, he
He
was so
was
fresh,
90s handsome.
so fresh. And I'm thinking, let's see, that's when you love somebody. You love somebody.
He was like, come get you a piece of this S curl. Yes.
Right, you know. And okay, wait, here we go. Oh yeah, that's it. Yep. Okay, that's it. Let me cut that off right now. She sleeps, so we just gonna stop playing that.
Speaking of sleep.
Right, right.
Right.
You know what? In fairness, I'm off the rest of the week, so I'm not gonna hold you ladies up. Hey, I want to thank y'all for hanging out with me tonight. It was good. It was good. Oh yeah, the S curl. That was the wave, yeah, man. That was the wave. I was at 91, 92 rock. You had to rock that S curl.
Listen, you wasn't the man unless you had one of them bad boys. You come to school the next day all curled up, all the girls be like, woo.
And what's funny is I have pictures of at one point. This
Don't
would have
have
been
the
in the
S curl flat
2010s, but
top. You was really the man.
just as a laugh, like right now, we uh we we got a wedding we're attending this weekend, so we faded up real nice and got my
I was
face
gonna
all
say you have
cleaned up,
curly hair anyway, Sam.
grew my
But
mustache out.
yeah, you
Right.
do.
And when it gets long, it gets a little, it does definitely curl up. But let me tell you, the coolest thing, I don't even need S curl. I can actually get just some regular old pomade. Do this bad boy right here, go straight back, comb it with a do rag, boom, instant S curl.
So you got the original S curl. S is for
You know what I'm
Sam.
saying? Like that. We got we got that whole every time I got to have a conversation, people like, where what are you? What are you? What are you? Like I'm just
I had a
walking.
little business back in the day putting in S curls. I really did. I would do it for $15.
Like once I learned that all
That
I
was my
had to
little
do
hustle.
was a little bit of pomade, a little bit of Dukes, but you know about Dukes. Get me a little bit of Dukes pomade, put on a do rag, be locked in. So that was the way to rock. But ladies, I'm not gonna hold y'all. I had so much fun, and we have to just plan some of these geek nights where we get to just have the random discussions. I enjoyed talking about the music, and I know Jeff loves talking about the music. He is all about music. So we've done music episodes. We'll have to plan another music episode one night. You definitely give me some food for thought on how we view and consume content, and I will see if I can get me a watch party going, get me some people that'll go to the movie theaters with me again. I'll be joining Teresa for Wolverine and Deadpool. I get my ass out the house, and gonna go check that out.
I'm
Um,
jealous.
Looking
Y'all
forward
get
to
to
that.
do stuff.
And and the crazy part is that was happening on a Thursday. My off days are Thursday, so I ain't have to schedule a vacation to do it. The only time I get to do shit anymore, I have to schedule a vacation day to do something. Because we be working. Yes, S is for Sam. Never ever, never ever forget that.
Facts. From
Um,
here on out.
that's what it'll be, the Sam curl. That's what we just gonna call it from now on. It's the Sam curl. Remember that.
Yeah, they got the Jerry curl is back, but they calling it the Gina curl, talking about $1,000. I was like,
Oh,
I got a lady right now with a chair in her basement. She'll put a Jerry curl right on you.
I'm
Right.
telling. Look,
$45.
all we got to do is get some Stay So Soft activator.
Yep. Activator.
Get some
I
activator.
never, my daddy wouldn't even let me get a curl, and I wanted one so bad. I wanted a curl, so I coveted them curl. My cousin had one, and hers was so glistening. I had a ponytail.
What's crazy is my mom actually worked for the company World of Curls that did the Afro Sheen activator, the
Really?
cocoa colored bottle with the brown top.
Yeah.
I know the owner and the original distributor of that company. His son is my guy, bro. Like I told you, I've just been fortunate in my life. I'd be connected. I know. Matter of fact,
Wow,
Miriam, you
that's
probably know
crazy. You like
Sam
original
Perryman,
Soul Glow hair.
Miriam
Hair.
Perryman. Teresa, do you recognize her name? Perryman,
What?
Miriam
Perryman?
Perryman.
No. I
Sam
don't.
Perriman, Miriam Perriman?
April
No?
might. I don't.
Okay, okay. I just would have been Miriam would be, I think, 1 year behind you. So that's why I thought maybe you knew who she was. Sam is 1 year ahead of me. Um, and they lived out in town we grew up in. So thought maybe you might have known. But yeah, yeah. So Afro Sheen and all of that, like that Soul Glow was based on that product, and I know the original manufacturer creator and whatnot. So it's like, yeah, it's cool. Good times, good times. So I had all of that shit. World of Curls, Afro Sheen, all of that. It was fantastic growing up seeing that. And I was a perfect test subject for it. Um,
Hey, I'm wearing Andre and Erica.
See, that's what I'm talking about. See, that's how good that vibe was. I didn't know who that was on your shirt.
I gotta stay so soft in my hands right now. Throw it away.
Hey,
Throw it away.
got to. And I think he got daughters. You know, gotta get through, help out. Um, I'm fortunate now. My daughter's old enough to do her own hair, and people pay her occasionally to do their hair. So I've decided if I ever decided to like grow my hair, do locks or anything like that, be my daughter maintaining and taking care of all my stuff. She does such a fantastic job with hers. It's my little plug. So if y'all know me, reach out. She might hook you up for a fee. Ladies, again, I want to thank y'all for being on with me tonight. Obviously, I got to let you all get some rest because we can clearly vibe and just keep the conversation going. But I'm not going to do that to y'all. I'm sure y'all have things to do tomorrow, and it doesn't involve hanging out with me all night. I want to thank everybody who tuned in to watch our episode of Weigh In Wednesday. We may have to get back into a routine of getting these shows done, getting these lives back in place because I like the vibe. I like having people come in. I want to, Anthony, who was a good part of the conversation. Next time, man, you're just gonna have to hop in, and you can get those comments out in time. Brandy won't beat you to all of them because you'll be right there with it. But we thank you for having watched. We are Grown A Geeks. Joining me tonight was Teresa, Brandy. My name is Sam, and we're gonna catch you next time. We appreciate it. Peace.